me telling Pia to do reactions, and I'm like, "Girl, I do reactions. I do live streams with my MacBook camera. Girl, you can do whatever you want." Um, she's funny. Okay, let me don't keep that. Perfect. And of course, the chapter is called Live, Laugh, Lesbianism, which is the most tossed. So thank you for that. Okay, I'm excited. So, oh, this specific streamer Zoe fic is so sick because everyone's like, is Zoe cheating on Rune? And it's like, no, she's just in a polykill. Oh, this is so silly. Hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Can you hear me? I'm hoping. Let me pull up the. I think it should be fine. Yeehaw. I love the first chapter. Girl, me too. Okay. So this chapter is called Live, Laugh, Yap for too long. Should I read the summary? Let's read the summary. She set the bowl down, lips curving into something smug as she raised a single finger, like she was about to make a very important announcement. If you somehow don't know already, I have not one, but two girlfriends. Hey, it's Sally. Oh, brother. Ayo, Captain Blue. Here she goes again. Shout out Blue. Robbo Mero. Every single stream, we get reminded this woman is winning. Sylvie Silver Art. Okay, we get it. You live in a happy, loving polycule with two gorgeous women. Not moi 3312. Every time Zoe mentions her girlfriends, an orphan gets curb stomped and a single person dies from starvation due to her greed. Broken heart emoji. Blanker. God has favorites, apparently. Zoe blinked at the screen before a slow, smug grin spread across her face. What? She asked innocently, already trying what? She asked innocently, already trying to laugh as both hands lifted into frame. You guys act like I bring it up every 5 seconds. Or part 2 to streamer Zoe AU. I am so excited for the little, oh my god, I forgot that there was like little emmed Twitter stuff in this. Oh, I'm so excited. Let's go. No, it's the second chapter has finally arrived. Hooray! I know it's been a minute, but I'm still here. Don't worry. Toss, I miss you. Oh my god. Hi, Nat. Toss, I miss you. Toss, girl, I miss you. We're working with a slightly higher budget this time. Let's go. So make sure you don't hide creator style. Enjoy. Also translation, you're such a tease for that Korean phrase. Also, I was talking with a friend of mine about fan fiction because like we live close to each other, so we were taking the same train. So we were talking about fan fiction, and she was like, "Oh my god, recommend me some polytrix fan fiction." And I recommended her Don't Clip That. When it had one chapter, and then this chapter came out, so I don't know if she'll ever read it. But I'm excited that this one has like fun little stuff. She is a heated rivalry girly, so she sent me a bunch of heated rivalry fics, which I've only started reading one. But one of them had like all the crazy like Facebook messages in it. So I think this is gonna be like a fun thing for her to see if she ever reads this. I was like, what should I share with this person? She doesn't like angst. She is like, if it needs to be angst, it needs to be like resolved. It needs to be her comfort. So I was like, okay. Because most of the fics I read are like long fics. So I'm like, I'm not gonna recommend her a long fic. So I was like, I'll recommend her. Don't clip that. Okay, let's start this. Zoe Puck, not your average Zoe. Chill stream plus special announcements. Also, a shout out to my amazing GF for making me this goated ramyun. Live now. Twitch link. Wait, does that Twitch link work? Wait, does it work? Oh my god! That's so good. That's so good. That's so good. We love. Listen, I love a good Rickroll. I love a good Rickroll. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I don't want to get copyright striked again. Listen, one of my favorite musicals has a Rickroll in it, so we love. Okay, I'm gonna check this out. 9:42 a.m. January 10th, 2026. 103.3 thousand comments, 32.4k retweets, 722.9k likes. I just like checking those out. I think it's funny. On stream, Zoe sat curled sideways in her turquoise and white gaming chair. Ooh, that looks pretty. That sounds pretty. Turquoise and white gaming chair, one knee tucked loosely against her chest while the other leg hung lazily off the edge. The oversized hoodie she wore slipped slightly off one shoulder, sleeves swallowing her hands as she balanced a steaming bowl just out of frame. A second later, she dipped out of view entirely, disappearing below the webcam with the kind of practiced instinct that came from years of streaming. She'd learned early on never to eat directly on camera unless she wanted an unflattering screenshot making the rounds on Twitter for the next 6 months. Apparently, I haven't learned that lesson because I'm not as popular. I will continue eating on stream until I have like, I don't know, like 100,000 followers or something, which I don't think will ever happen. The mic picked up on a quiet slurp anyway. Then a soft, betrayed sniffle. Gosh, hot, hot, she muttered weakly off screen. By the time she resurfaced, chat had already exploded. Zoe popped back into frame, fanning her mouth dramatically with the sleeve of her hoodie, glasses slipping down her nose as her face scrunched in lingering pain. She blinked at her second monitor, trying and failing to keep up as messages flew past faster than she could read them. "You guys are so unsympathetic," she complained, the words breaking into a laugh as she squinted at the screen. Half of them were telling her to stop burning her tongue every single stream, which, okay, fair. She huffed softly, nudging her glasses back into place as she rolled her chair a little closer to the desk, posture loosening again as she settled in. "Hi, I just got here. What are we doing?" "Oh," Zoe straightened slightly in her chair. "Right now, I'm just finishing food and hanging out. Super light stream tonight." Her gaze flicked back toward the monitor. "I'm basically just watching the videos you guys sent me earlier, so you didn't miss much." The messages didn't slow. If anything, they got worse. Zoe's gaze snagged on one in particular, and she let out a quiet snort. "What am I eating? Wow, suddenly everyone cares." She lifted the bowl into frame just long enough to show it off. "It's just simple ramyun," she said, lowering it again. "My beautifully talented, amazing girlfriend made it for me." A beat. "Not Rumi, my other one, Mira." She set the bowl down, lips curving into something smug as she raised a single finger, like she was about to make a very important announcement. "If you somehow don't know already, I have not one, but two girlfriends." "Hey, it's Sally." "Oh, brother." Ayo, Captain Blue. "Here she goes again." It is harder with the black. Okay. "Robo Mero. Every single stream we get reminded this woman is winning." Sylvie Silver Art. "Okay, we get it. You live in a happy, loving polycule with two gorgeous women." Not moi 3312. Every time Zoe mentions her girlfriends, an orphan gets curb stomped and a single person dies from starvation due to her greed. Blanker. "God has favorites, apparently." Zoe blinked at the screen before a slow, smug grin spread across her face. "What?" she asked innocently, already trying not to laugh as both hands lifted into frame. "You guys act like I bring it up every 5 seconds." That did absolutely nothing to help her case. The chat only sped up. Rumi underscore truther. "You literally do." "Laylee Aurelie, yes!" Clinically incapable of shutting up about them. PR Liet. Stream title could be Minecraft, and somehow we'd still hear about the girlfriends by minute 3. Mishu underscore HT. Zoe, if not talking about her girlfriends was a job, unemployed. Zoe physically recoiled, sinking back into her chair as she stared at the screen like Chad has personally betrayed her. Okay, wow, she said, gawking in mock offense. That's actually insane. But she was already smiling, the corners of her mouth twitching upward while she shook her head at the monitor. Well, God forbid I like talking about my girlfriends, she continued, pushing forward again, one hand gesturing loosely toward the camera. And besides, if you had two hot girlfriends who loved you, you'd be unbearable too, so let's not act morally superior here. She leaned back with a small huff, waving it off like she'd already decided she'd won the argument. But anyway, the one most of you are familiar with is Rumi because she's in like half my streams at this point. Her eyes flicked back to chat. And the one you guys recently met is Mira because of a certain, she trailed off, wincing playfully, incident. Understatement of the century. Little Mix perfect. Yeah, we don't talk about that. Marina Rose, Marina Rose, Roselle? Marina Roselle, 44. Huge misunderstanding. 37 Dr. Butchatrons. I remember opening Twitter at work and immediately sitting down. Belotar Belotasarutobi. Oh my god. Me when I have to read usernames. Belotasarutobi. Someone made a Google Doc. I'm not surprised. Google Doc. Am gay 666. Genuinely thought we were witnessing Zoe's first cheating scandal in real time. Sam the 42nd! LMAO, craziest week to be a fan, actually. Shout out Sam, who is here right now. Zoe shook her head, a helpless grin slipping through as she glanced between messages. Right? It was actually insane, she said, letting out a quiet laugh. She leaned back into her chair again, arms folding loosely, the energy softening without fully losing its warmth. But honestly, her gaze dipped back to chat, a little more focused this time. I will say, she started, glancing back at chat, her tone shifting just a little. I am, a little proud of you guys for how you handled it. That got a reaction. Even if the messages didn't fully slow, there was a subtle shift. A few people already typing before she could finish. Not all of it, she added quickly, one brow lifting. Some of you were actually insane. Let's not rewrite history. But the fact that so many of you immediately went, somebody tell Rumi, instead of just covering for me, she shook her head with a small smile. I don't know. That actually made me weirdly happy. Her eyes flicked across chat again, expression thoughtful now. Because you guys weren't sitting there trying to protect me from consequences or whatever. You were more concerned about making sure Rumi wasn't getting cheated on behind her back. She let out a quiet laugh through her nose. Which, honestly, good. Zoe shrugged lightly. Obviously, I wasn't actually cheating, but if I was, the correct response would be telling her immediately. She pointed toward the camera again. And you guys did. Fast, too. Some of y'all were working overtime. That got another grin out of her before her expression softened again. But genuinely, I respect that a lot because it means you care about her as a person, not just me. XOXO1438659. Yes, Rumi, that's our baby. The jokester. As much as we love you, we would have folded you respectfully. Zoe snorted, the moment breaking cleanly as she leaned forward again. Yeah, no, I gathered, she said dryly. The underscore queen 5858. I die for Rumi, honestly. Replying to the queen 5858. I'm not gonna say that. So real. Bilingual menace. Hashtag we love Rumi. Circle underscore Rames. Yeah, Rumi's RGF too. I don't think so. I don't think so. Zoe's eyes narrowed on that last message. Okay, she said slowly. I don't know about all that. This head empty. Our girlfriend, Aisha, Aisha 2349311787767. Shared custody roomie, Blue 12, the people's princess. Zoe broke almost instantly, laughter spilling out of her as she grabbed the edge of her desk for balance. You guys are actually ridiculous, she managed, shaking her head. You know what? Zoe said after a second, reaching for her phone. I'm telling her right now. I'm underscore the bolter. Live roomie reaction. Connor 3 numbers. Hi roomie, we love you. Anonymous Fire 09. Tell her I'm free Thursday. Killectric. Ask her if she needs a fourth GF. Hear him 2K. Banned. Mods, get them. Zoe snorted under her breath as her thumbs moved quickly across the screen, typing without much thought. Chat says they love you, by the way. The typing bubble appeared almost instantly. Zoe's smile betrayed her before the message even came through. Tell them I love them too, heart. The laugh that spilled out of her was softer, almost involuntary. God, there it was again. That stupid, quiet warmth that kept catching her off guard at the worst possible times. She didn't even realize how obvious it was until chat reacted. Troubled Odyssey. Oh, that smile! Twilights underscore ep. She's so gone. Miratron 3000. Zoe looking at her phone like a Victorian man seeing ankle. Twas one. Girl, stand up! Estrelix. She's giggling at texts, by the way. Tall, girthy man. If smitten was a person. Zoe straightened abruptly in her chair, like posture alone could undo what had just happened. Okay, relax, she coughed, clearing her throat as she tried and failed to recover even a shred of dignity. Anyways, her cheeks were definitely warm. Speaking of girlfriends, she continued quickly, pretending Chad hadn't just publicly witnessed her melting in real time. Let me ask Mira if I can show you guys her reaction to the prank because I'm a respectful girlfriend. A small beat. And because her reaction was adorable. Her thumbs were already moving again, faster this time. She barely had to wait before her expression flickered, subtle at first, then rapidly shifting through about 5 different reactions in the span of a second. Then suddenly, she barked out a laugh so loud it peaked the mic. Okay, I got permission, she said, already turning her phone toward the camera. Also, this conversation was way too funny not to show you. Yay, we got messages. Miracle worker, heart emoji with a monkey PFP. Love. Mir, can I stream the prank video? Angel emoji. Okay. Okay. Yes, I said okay. Angry emoji. Sorry. Yes, my beloved girlfriend, whom I cherish deeply. You may show the video. That's better, but okay, I love you. You're the best person in the whole world. Actually, no, the universe. I adore you. You're beautiful and cool and awesome. Heart, heart. Holy glaze. Excuse me? Hello? Glaze? What? Did I use it incorrectly? I thought it meant showering someone with excessive praise, which you were doing. LMAO, where did you even learn that? I heard it from a video Rumi was watching and I asked her what it meant and she explained it to me. Was that wrong? Crying emoji. Baby, no, that's technically right. Crying emoji. But people usually say glaze when someone is hyping up a person too much, like in an annoying or embarrassing way. So, like, you basically called me a professional meat writer, crying emoji, which is crazy to say to your girlfriend, by the way. Even though it's kind of true when it comes to you. Warning, I may be a little freaky. Oh, shit. Then not holy glaze. I'm sorry. I love you so much. Please don't be mad that this dog emoji with the sorry. No, it's okay. I'm not mad. LOL. Crying emoji. Honestly, that was probably the funniest possible way you could have used it. Please never stop talking like this. Okay, thank you. The Last of Us meme. Love this photo, reminds me of you. But for the record, I do enjoy when you excessively praise me. It's this Sonic meme with that. Do you now? Smirk. Because make me end stream early because don't make me end stream early because I will. Gulp. Keep it in your pants. Be true to your viewers. We have a GIF. Sometimes I use my microwave to pretend someone strapped me to a bomb. I understand. Wait, can I show chat our messages? I think it's too funny not to share. Not the recent ones, I promise, just the top. Fine, weirdo. Thank you. Heart, 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 heart. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love a good message interaction. Like, that's so freaking good. That's so good. Zoe lowered her phone slowly, her eyes lingering on the screen for a second like she needed a moment to recover. When she finally looked back up at chat, the smile already spreading across her face completely ruined any attempt at composure. See? She said, gesturing loosely with her phone. This is what I deal with. Chat was moving too fast to properly follow now, but she still caught pieces as they flew by. Veg out. Mira is so funny without trying. Blue star 121797. Holy glaze is taking me out. Victoria underscore Leo. Please don't rot her beautiful brain. Please, please, please. Broken heart, broken heart. Zoe let out a quiet laugh, shaking her head as she set her phone down beside her keyboard. Okay, focus, she said, dragging a hand down her face in exaggerated seriousness. The actual prank video. Her grin immediately returned. It's not that evil, she insisted. It was just really cute and I almost died. A few quick clicks echoed through the stream as she pulled up the clip and set it to full screen. Okay, she said, already giggling a little. Watch her face carefully. The video started. The footage wobbled slightly before stabilizing as Zoe placed her phone horizontally into the dashboard holder. Mira sat in the passenger seat, quietly watching the city drift by outside, late evening light spilling softly across the interior of the car. The moment she noticed the phone angled toward her, though, her gaze shifted, one eyebrow lifting in mild suspicion. Making an impromptu mukbang? She asked. Off camera, Video Zoe laughed nervously. Maybe. On stream, Zoe immediately turned to her webcam, eyes widening as she broke, unable to help herself. Look at me trying to act normal. R.A. Garcia L18. Suspicious ass, maybe. Alice Silenza. Worst liar alive. Zoe's rings. Zoe's rings. She already looks like she's up to no good. The car rolled forward into the Loteria drive-thru. The speaker crackling. Oh my god! The speaker crackling to life a second later. Hi, chat. Hi. What? Oh my god! Why did I say hi, chat? My brain, my morning brain. Hi. What can we get for you today? Zoe leaned slightly toward the window. Can I get the bulgogi deluxe burger combo with medium fries and the matcha cup bingsu, please? Anything else? At that, she turned toward Mira, her voice softening just slightly in a way that probably would have gone unnoticed if the camera hadn't been close enough to catch everything. What are you getting, baby? Mira narrowed her eyes at the menu despite very obviously already knowing what she wanted, gaze moving across it with unnecessary concentration before she finally answered, KBBQ bowl. Zoe smiled with a nod and turned back toward the speaker without hesitation. And for my wife, Mira's head snapped toward her instantly. She'd like a KBBQ bowl too. That's it. For a second, the car went strangely quiet aside from the faint static crackling through the speaker. Zoe glanced sideways innocently, one hand still resting against the steering wheel. That's it, right? Mira blinked once, then again. Yeah, she answered a little slower this time. That's it. The smile that started forming afterward was tiny at first, barely visible at the corner of her mouth, but the camera caught it anyway. It lingered there no matter how much she tried to suppress it, while the car rolled forward through the drive through line, growing little by little each time she unsuccessfully pressed her lips together to hide it. And Mira had turned slightly toward the door, elbow resting against it, as if physically looking away would somehow make her reaction less obvious. Zoe handed one of the food bags over without comment, and Mira accepted it quietly, but her composure was already slipping. Her lips stayed pressed together in a failing attempt not to smile too hard, shoulders curling inward just slightly as a sudden shyness softened her posture in a way the camera almost never managed to catch from her. She turned more toward the window, resting her elbow against the door as she lifted a hand to cover part of her mouth, as if that could somehow hide the smile still very obviously there. It couldn't, not even a little. By the time they pulled into a parking spot, Mira was still angled toward the window, putting a little too much effort into looking unaffected while the corners of her eyes gave her away completely. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Mira stayed like that, putting an almost suspicious amount of effort into focusing on literally anything outside the car instead of the person sitting next to her. The food bag sat untouched in her lap, her fingers tapping lightly against the crinkled paper. She needed something to do with her hands. Still, she was smiling. Zoe finally glanced over properly, brow lifting a little as she watched her. There was a brief pause before she asked, "What?" Mira shook her head immediately. "Nothing." The smile broke through halfway through the word and ruined the attempt entirely. Zoe huffed out a quiet laugh. "No, it's definitely something. Tell me." Mira exhaled sharply through her nose, almost a laugh, and pressed her lips together again like she could somehow physically stop herself from smiling if she tried hard enough. It did absolutely nothing. "It's nothing, I swear," she mumbled, softer this time. The camera caught the faint flush spreading across her cheeks. Jackie 182113. Oh, she's shy. Lover girl Mira, my beloved indeed. Lover girl Mira who pretends to be so nonchalant but is the chalantest person anyone has ever seen. Turtle Dove 1818. Why this got my lonely ass smiling? Crying emoji, crying emoji. Sailor Marsh Butch. This is the cutest thing I've ever seen, actually. Turtle Lover 03. Zoe got this woman giggling and kicking her feet in a drive-through. I love that you have the two's company accounts there. On stream, Zoe paused the video and leaned back in her chair, dragging a hand down her face like she was trying to physically contain herself. "Guys," she said, already losing the battle. She stayed like this for like 5 whole minutes, by the way. She unpaused the clip. On screen, Zoe leaned a little closer across the center console. "Mira?" Mira immediately lowered her head, dragging a hand over her mouth again like she was genuinely trying to wipe the smile off her face before Zoe could see it any more clearly. No, tell me why. No, tell me why you're smiling," Zoe insisted, reaching over to poke her shoulder gently. "I want to know." Another small laugh slipped out of Mira before she could stop it, quiet and breathy in a way that made it obvious she hadn't meant to make the sound out loud at all. You know why, Zoe." The second she said it, Zoe made the loudest offended noise imaginable. "See?" she shouted at chat. "She was making me work for it." Laura asks, oh my god. I know that account, but like Laura ASQT. Oh my god. Ajman11424. You know why? The way she said it, hello? Mono by themselves. Mira got game weights. The video kept rolling as Zoe leaned back dramatically in the driver's seat, crossing her arms with the most smug expression imaginable. "Oh, she teased. Do I? That finally made Mira look over at her directly. Huge mistake. Because the second their eyes met, Mira smiled all over again. Worse this time. Instant and completely uncontrollable. And for a few long seconds, neither of them even tried to speak. They just sat there, grinning at each other like idiots in complete silence. Comedy animal. This is insanely intimate. Help. Laura Kim, oh my god. Laura Kim 853819997. They're just staring at each other, crying emoji. Canary Skylar, I need to walk into traffic. Mira finally cracked first. She let out a quiet sigh and reached for the food bag with far more determination than necessary. Opening it almost aggressively, like pretending to search for fries might somehow salvage what was left of her dignity. It did not help that Zoe was still openly staring at her. Is it because I called you my wife? And somehow, impossibly, the smile on Mira's face only widened. Zoe's expression shifted immediately, triumph lighting up her face. Oh, she hummed, leaning back slightly. Oh, she hummed, leaning back slightly. That was Zoe. That kind of looks like a yes. Mira ducked her head with the faintest groan under her breath while finally pulling her food from the bag, clearly trying and failing to regain control of the situation. Do you like it when I call you my wife? Zoe asked, gentler this time, the teasing still there but softened around the edges. Mira muttered something under her breath as she unwrapped her food. And the Korean phrase, which I'm gonna check what it meant again. She says, "You're such a tease." Yeah, cute. Let me find that again. Cool. Zoe was still smiling as the first video ended, chat moving so fast it became almost unreadable. Both hands dramatically against her cheeks, like she was trying to physically reset herself. Okay, she huffed. That was Mira's reaction. She pointed vaguely toward the monitor. Now we're moving on to Rumi's version. And when I tell you the reaction was completely different with her, I mean completely different. Zoe clicked on the second video and full screened it before leaning back in her chair. This was a few days before Mira, by the way. The video started shakier than the first one. Is it recording? Zoe's voice called from off screen. Rumi blinked at the phone, then smiled softly as she reached forward to steady it against the dashboard. Yeah, it's on. She adjusted the angle carefully until both of them fit comfortably in frame just as Rumi pulled the car into the drive-through line. Unlike Mira, who'd mostly ignored the camera once filming started, Rumi immediately leaned into it. Hello, vlog, she said with a small wave. Tell them what we're doing today, Rooms, Zoe said brightly, grinning over at her. Rumi gave a small thumbs up toward the camera, visibly trying not to laugh already. Today, guys, we're going to be doing a mukbang in Zoe's car. Zoe snorted immediately. Yep. She inched the car forward, glancing sideways at Rumi. Do you know what you're getting? Rumi leaned over the center console to get a better look at the menu, squinting thoughtfully as her hair slipped over one shoulder with the movement. I might get the Hanu truffle mushroom burger, she said after a second. It looks amazing. Ooh, Zoe muttered with a grin while rolling the window down. I'm gonna need a bite of yours. Rumi smiled lazily. Only if I get a bite of yours. Deal. Zoe pulled up to the speaker. Hi, can I get the Ria shrimp burger with a large fry and... She paused just long enough for Rumi to glance over casually before finishing with complete confidence. My wife would like the Hanu truffle mushroom burger too, that's it. The camera caught Rumi freezing instantly. Of course. Pork chop shark. Oh, you weren't lying. RCCM J38. Rumi stopped breathing? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Text Young K. Zoe, you cannot just drop that casually. On screen, Zoe either didn't notice or pretended not to as she paid for the food and accepted the bags at the next window. But once they pulled into a parking spot and she handed one of the bags over, the silence lingering beside her finally became impossible to ignore. Rumi was still staring at her. Zoe glanced over with a small, nervous laugh. What? Rumi shifted in her seat, then turned fully toward her, resting one elbow against the headrest as she studied Zoe with an intensity that immediately made current stream Zoe start yelling before the clip had even continued. I hated this! She yelled at chat. She was looking at me like she knew something I didn't. The video kept playing. After what felt like a very deliberate amount of silence, Rumi finally spoke. What did you say? Zoe blinked innocently. What do you mean? You called me your wife. Zoe nodded once, suddenly looking far less confident now that attention had fully shifted back onto her. I did, didn't I? You did, Rumi repeated softly. The words came with a small hum as her gaze flicked briefly down to Zoe's mouth before turning to her eyes again. Zoe broke first. Her attention dropped immediately to the food bag in her lap, fingers moving too quickly as she started digging through it with forced focus, like that alone could restore some sense of normalcy. What? She laughed, a little too high, a little too fast. Why are you looking at me like that? You're scaring me. Rumi just shook her head with a small, almost knowing smile before finally pulling her burger from the bag and taking a bite like nothing unusual had happened at all. Zoe watched her carefully while unwrapping her own food, visibly trying to figure out what exactly had shifted in the air between them. You okay? You okay? She asked cautiously. Rumi glanced over at her while chewing, eyes lowering for a moment before she nodded once. Just wait until we get home. Yes! I love Rumi! Mhm. Oh my god. Hi! Hello, y'all. Oh my god. I'm gonna take a mini break because I don't think there are maybe there are chapter breaks in this. I'm just gonna look at the just wait until we get home. Said so oh. Yeah. I'm just checking out the comments real quick. Yeah, not much good. What chapter? What is this? This is Don't Clip That Chapter 2. This is Toss's streamer Zoe Fick. And Zoe's doing a little prank where she calls Mira and Rumi her wife and records their reactions to it. And Rumi is being yeah, anyway, Zoe paused the video so fast it almost lagged. She pointed aggressively at the frozen frame on screen. Right there! Spana underscore the underscore nerd. Oh my god! Mishu underscore HT. That's not a sentence you survive, by the way. Velcro. The bedroom eyes go crazy. Sam the 42nd. Rumi got that dog in her. Crying emoji. Do you see what I was dealing with? She hit play again. Back in the video, Zoe blinked several times, her expression caught somewhere between confusion and dawning realization. Huh? Rumi didn't even look embarrassed. You heard me. And somehow that wasn't even the worst part. Because immediately afterward, Rumi just went back to eating her burger completely unbothered, humming softly under her breath while turning to look out the window again, like she hadn't just altered the trajectory of Zoe's entire evening with one sentence. Dave, double B underscore 0. She's so casual about it. Sweet molasses. The humming is crazy. Two gay sent help. She already planned the rest of her evening. Neon cats. Ain't no way. As roses fall. Ruby got her ass bad. Crying emoji. Pixel panic 4-2. Zoe saw her future flash before her eyes. Hexed honey. That was the most sexual "just wait till we get home" ever said. On screen, Zoe slowly turned toward the dashboard camera. The microphone picked up an extremely audible gulp. Then the video abruptly ended. For a second, Zoe just sat there in silence before dramatically collapsing back into her gaming chair, dragging both hands down her face like she was trying to wipe the memory out of existence. When she peeked back at the chat through her fingers, she was already smiling. Slowly, ominously, she rubbed her hands together. A beat. Let's just say that burger wasn't the only thing that got ate that day. Of course, orbiting full. Yo, what? Minty static. Actually, what is wrong with you? Australian. Mods, execute her. Crimson Bite. That's crazy. Sleepy Ghost. We did not need that information. Zoe immediately glanced around her room like she just heard something deeply concerning. Whoa, whoa, she said slowly, spinning once in her chair before looking over her shoulder. Did you guys hear that? She paused, scanning the room again with exaggerated confusion. I think there's a ghost in here saying weird things. Glitchcore 444. Don't try to play it off now. Catboy Cryptid. Gaslighting us is crazy. Velvet Ruin. Clip channels already uploading, by the way. Citrus Mochi. Zoe accidentally admits she got folded by her girlfriend. Thumbnail tomorrow. Eel with Wi-Fi. You said it with your own mouth. Crying emoji. Minty Ramen. We all heard it live. Crying emoji. Orbiting stars. Burger wasn't the only thing eaten. I'm actually calling the police. Sleepy Kobold. Sleepy Kobold? Streamer down horrendous. Kitten Bat. Mira would have shut the stream down. Zoe collapsed forward into her desk laughing. She buried her face in the sleeves of her hoodie as her shoulders shook hard enough to jostle her microphone. You guys are acting like I said something insane, she protested weakly through laughter, voice muffled against fabric. PeachSoda.exe. EXE. You did it! Stofu Satellite. Clip it! Lunar Static. This is why Mira called you a professional meat writer. Zoe's head snapped up so fast it nearly gave her whiplash. It made the loudest, most genuinely offended noise. She made the loudest, most genuinely offended noise imaginable while pointing accusingly at the monitor. Oh, now you're using her against me? We actually do get a chapter break. Wait, water break. Okay, awesome sauce. Yeah, check them. Rumi never beating the dog allegations. One way or another. What's this fanfic questions? Artie, we can gift you oranges now. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my god. That's insane. It knows. TikTok knows. This stream is what's gonna make me live through my 16-hour shift. Oh my god, 16-hour shift. I'm so sorry. Oh, I believe in you. I believe in you so hard. That's gonna be me. Well, I never have 16-hour shift, but I have like a 12-hour shift like next week. So real. TikToker, no. Oh. I work to go see my woman. That's good. My usual shifts are 13 hours. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I am like, my usual shifts are like 10 to 5. Like I work 2 jobs, but like, damn, that's rough. I'm sorry. I just realized I need to get a job in like 2 years. Real. Being an adult sucks. Well, it has its fun parts, but like, bleh. Anyway, let's continue. A little over an hour into the stream, after the prank videos, reacting to more clips chat had sent in, and a semi-long rant that somehow turned into her unpacking childhood memories and realizing she liked girls, Zoe finally decided it was the perfect time to unveil the thing she'd been planning all night. That sounds about right. Still grinning to herself, she cleared her throat dramatically and scooted closer to the microphone. If I could have everyone's attention right about now, she announced. Not that she needed to ask since they were literally here to watch her, but Zoe still smiled into the camera like she was gathering a crowd for something important. It is now time, she continued solemnly, clasping her hands together, for the announcement you all have probably been waiting for. Chat immediately lost its mind again. Zoe's left brain cell. Wait, I'm scared. Sleepy Skip Slop 02. Please don't tell me you're quitting. Rumi's #1 fan. If she says retirement, I'm jumping off my roof. Crumbs for Zoe. Why does she sound serious? Crying emoji. Zoe cracked almost immediately, laughing under her breath as she shook her head. Relax, I'm not quitting. She sat up straighter in her chair after saying it, trying very hard to look composed, despite the fact she was already seconds away from ruining her own bit by laughing. You guys don't know this, she began carefully, but I was actually pregnant for 9 months and recently gave birth. Bite me, please. All right, bro, wrap it up. Sleep deprived rat. And to think I thought this was serious. Rumi's wife, Real, already knew this was going to be some BS. Joe not found. Streamer tries stand-up comedy live. Zoe pressed both hands together pleadingly. Let me finish. Please let me finish. She had to bite the inside of her cheek just to keep from breaking too early. I am now the mother to a beautiful baby boy. And I know, Zoe went on, nodding thoughtfully, you're not really supposed to put your child on the internet in front of. She glanced sideways at her monitor, eyes widening slightly at the viewer count. 300,000 people and all that jazz, Jesus Christ. She let the moment hang just long enough to feel intentional. But I love you guys, she added more softly, a hand resting over her chest. And I want you all to meet him. The chat completely split between people fully understanding the joke and people suddenly terrified she was somehow being serious. Tickless talk 21. Wait, what if she actually has a kid? I'm scared. Frost_frightfoo. If she comes back holding a real baby, I'm actually uninstalling Twitch. Zoe Phantom 281. There is no way. 679 God. Waiting for her to say JK. Come on, say JK. Bob knows a guy 48. I'll give everyone here $200 if she actually has a child. Zoe nodded solemnly like this was an extremely emotional moment. Okay, she whispered. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go get him. Then she rolled her chair completely out of frame. The camera was left pointed at her bed, which was covered in an almost unreasonable amount of plushies, while muffled noises echoed faintly from somewhere off screen. Tossy Bossy, she left. Arctic Fox, noise 2. Why is my heart racing? Guppy Puppy 6. This is the most stressed I've ever been. Oh my god. Osupla 4. What if she returns holding a baby? I'm calling my mom. Off screen, Zoe could already feel herself starting to lose it. Laughter bubbling up so hard she had to press a hand over her mouth just to stay quiet. She'd expected people to play along almost immediately, not whatever this was. The fact that her chat had descended into genuine panic over the possibility that she had secretly had a child made it at least 10 times funnier. Okay, her voice called from somewhere out of frame. Noticeably shakier now because she was trying not to laugh. I got him! More panic. Figs of these usernames, God. Figs of in Figs! Oh my god! Ball Knower 3000. Guys, wait. Zoe's glasses 21. I'm actually scared. And everyone, Zoe continued, her tone suddenly absurdly gentle as she rolled back into frame. Please be nice to him. She leaned toward the camera carefully before opening her hands. A tiny turtle blinked up at the webcam from her palms. Zoe's expression broke into something bright and proud. This, she announced, is Miso. That's such a cute name for a turtle. Woola hoop. Oh my god. Hula hooping gal. Oh my god. Crying emoji, crying emoji, crying emoji. Sure, buddy boy. That's a fucking turtle. Daniel, not a tiger. LMFAO. I hate her so bad. Yellow mellow sip. Miso. Twy freaking light. Aw. Hummingbird enjoyer. Wait, he's so tiny. Zoe immediately dissolved into laughter again, carefully adjusting Miso higher in her hands so she was fully visible to the camera. Look at him, she said, voice going soft with mock emotion. He's literally just a little guy. Miso, say hi to everyone. The turtle did absolutely nothing. Nerdy girl pop. So cute. K-pop fan 16. He said hi back. Upsy daisy. Wait, I low-key see the resemblance. Jeepers Swiglio. Hashtag Miso's biggest fan, even though I met him a second ago. Apple a day is good. One. Apple a day Apple a day is good. One. Why he look like he's thinking about taxes? Why he look like he's thinking about taxes? Zoe snorted. He does kind of look constantly concerned, huh? She tilted Miso slightly toward herself, like she was inspecting him more closely, her expression shifting into something thoughtful. What are you worried about, little man? Miso blinked again. Zoe nodded with quiet seriousness. That's fair, actually. At this point, she couldn't stop smiling, her thumb brushing lightly over the top of his shell as she held him steady beneath the glow of her monitor. I love him very dearly, she hummed, and I would not hesitate to chop anybody up for him. Zoe narrowed her eyes at the camera. You guys don't understand our bond. He will inherit my channel one day. Then after a second, she glanced down at Miso thoughtfully. Actually, no, he won't. He has no work ethic. Miso lover. Miso lover 100. He's trying his best. Galactics Warrior 3. He just got here. Your mom, not mine. Unemployed at birth is crazy. Zoe looked back at the camera, incredulous. He sits in water all day. Name one contribution. Right on cue, Miso stretched one tiny leg outward. Zoe froze, then gasped softly, eyes widening in adoration. Oh my god, wait, guys, he's waving! The chat absolutely lost it again. Tongue 004. Miso wave replay. Artisanal. He knows he's famous. And said double. He knows he's famous. He knows he's famous. Said twice. Sunken _ silk. This is his stream now. Zoe honestly couldn't even disagree at this point. She was smiling so hard her cheeks hurt, holding Miso carefully in both hands while the soft glow of her monitor lit them both. And chat continued to spiral over a turtle that had existed on stream for less than 5 minutes. Look at his little face, Zoe muttered fondly, tilting Miso slightly toward the camera again so everyone could get a better look. Miso blinked once, completely expressionless. He's a musk turtle, by the way, she explained, easily into the kind of animated rambling chat immediately recognized whenever she got attached to a topic, which means he's going to stay relatively small compared to some other turtles. Then a donation alert popped up across the screen. Soft Shell Supremacy donated 6,500 won. Will we be seeing him in more streams, perchance? Zoe's face brightened instantly. Ooh, thanks for the dono. But yeah, definitely. She glanced down at Miso again, her expression softening into something thoughtful. I also want to set up a little camera near his tank so I can switch to it randomly during streams. That's so cute. Soy pod. Turtle cam! Fish stick sabbats. Wait, that's actually so cute. Num Num Deluxe 3. Turtle intermissions of him swimming around, I can definitely see it. Heart. Zoe laughed softly before her attention drifted off screen, like she'd suddenly remembered something mid-thought. Oh, wait! She shifted Miso a little awkwardly into one hand and reached for her phone with the other, quickly typing something out. I'm I'm texting the father of my child. Since she's soup. Since she's soup? Since she's soup. Oh, brother, here we go again. Losa Hoist? Losa Hoist 12. She means Rumi, doesn't she? A second later, footsteps echoed faintly from somewhere else in the apartment. Zoe brightened instantly. Ooh, okay. She lifted Miso a little closer to the webcam again, adjusting him carefully in her hands. Everyone say goodbye to Miso, she said, smiling, because I'm handing him over to his other parent. Joshin and Josh, 82. Bye, Miso, toasted Milk Fan. We love you, little man. Burgery, Bows. Aw, already? We just met him a second ago. Broken heart. A few seconds later, Rumi wandered into frame, wrapped in an oversized hoodie, her hair slightly messy and her expression still soft with sleep. Oh my god. When Rumi, oh my god, the chat is gonna go crazy about Rumi's little thing during the prank. I can already see it. Pause for fire truck. Even during the day. Anybody got a link to the fic? Just search up if you already read Two's Company, it's by Toss. It's by the same author. It's Don't Clip That. It's called Don't Clip That. A few seconds later, Rumi wandered into frame, wrapped in an oversized hoodie, her hair slightly messy and her expression still soft with sleep. The moment she noticed the stream, she smiled. Oh, she said, a quiet laugh slipping out. You're still live. Come collect your son. Rumi walked over without hesitation while Zoe carefully transferred Miso into her hands with the seriousness of a sacred exchange. Give me a second. TikTok is making me do tasks. Okay. Rumi instinctively cradled him against her chest the second he was in her arms, thumb brushing gently across the top of his shell while her sleepy smile softened even more. There he is, she said quietly. Zoe angled the camera slightly toward them. Say bye, Miso. Understanding of human language or emotional attachment and responded by staring blankly at them. Zoe let out a soft, affectionate sigh. He's got Mira's facial expressions. Before Rumi could wander fully out of frame, Zoe leaned toward her with the most shamelessly expectant expression. Oh my god. Shamelessly expectant expression imaginable. Say that like 5 times. Shamelessly expectant expression imaginable. Eyes soft, lips already pursed slightly like she fully believed she was owed something before Rumi left. Can I get a little kiss before you go? Rumi's mouth quirked upward immediately. You get so needy on stream. And there wasn't even a pause. Rumi leaned down and pressed a quick, soft kiss to her lips. Zoe immediately smiled afterward like she'd just been handed a prize. Then she blinked at Rumi expectantly again. Rumi laughed softly. That wasn't enough. Zoe shook her head without shame. One more. You're ridiculous. And yet you love me. I do, don't I? This is literally my roommates, by the way. This is literally my roommates all the time. One of my roommates will just be like, you just gave me one kiss. One more. Though I always say that my roommates are like Zomira more than Zorumi. My roommates are definitely like biblical Zomira. Despite the sarcasm, Rumi leaned down again anyway, this time lingering just a little longer before pulling away. Zoe looked entirely too pleased with herself afterward, already leaning forward hopefully for another before Rumi even had the chance to straighten back up. Oh my god. Please. Still holding Miso against her chest, Rumi gave in with another quiet laugh and kissed her one last time, softer this round, her fingers briefly brushing against Zoe's jaw before she finally pulled away for real. Zoe sat there looking absurdly satisfied with herself. Okay, she sighed happily. Now you may leave. Trudy, oh my god. Trudy Truman 7. Need them to stop being cute immediately. CP Soples. My lonely ass just took 46 psychic damage. Tommy Sit, oh my god. Tommy Sitfof, Tommy Sitfof Beef? They're so sickeningly cute. Bandana Bandits 08, 09. The homosexuals are at it again. BB gun, so be it. This is why she mentions having girlfriends every 3 minutes, by the way. Starboy Loser. You know, I used to be happy before the stream. Glitter Crime. Miso witnessing unbearable levels of lesbianism right now. Pixel Parasite. Rumi didn't even hesitate. She saw the pouch and accepted defeat immediately. Pharaoh Mochi. The worst part is she'd absolutely do the same thing again in 4 minutes. Rumi just laughed softly under her breath, shaking her head as she turned to leave the room with the miso still tucked safely in her hands. Bye, stream. Later, alligator, Zoe called after her immediately. Rumi lifted her hand in a lazy wave without looking back. In a while, crocodile. Then she disappeared out of frame, and just like that, the room settled back into quiet again. For a second, Zoe stayed exactly where she was, still staring toward the doorway with the same hopelessly fond smile lingering across her face. It took her an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize she'd completely zoned out on stream. When she finally noticed, she cleared her throat, turned back toward the camera, and cracked her knuckles dramatically like she was about to begin something deeply sinister. All right, she announced with a wicked grin. Now that it's just us again. She leaned slightly closer to her webcam. It's sea creature documentary time. Class is in session. I can't believe this is like the most popular streamer ever, by the way. She is so funny. She is so funny. I'll just take this out. I have more water. Give me a sec. Okay. Oh my god. Broccoli, if you have to go, bye. Thanks for being here. She's so cute and silly. Who wouldn't love her? True. Did Artie just spawn a second bot? No, this was the one I was using. I have another one, but this is just a bigger one. So, I am reading Don't Clip That by Toss. The purge is happening already. Again, I live next to a fire station. I can't really avoid it. Oh my god, I love them. They're really cute. Bye, Broccoli. Yay, I'll go back. Rumi_Rumi. This was Zoe's idea, not your average Zoe. And it's to it's Rainbow Dash and Twilight Sparkle bottles kissing at not your average Zoe. At Ruminiscent. Ruminiscent is like good username. That's cute. Zoe Puck replies to that. Lesbianship is magic, or however it went. Rumi replies with the gift that goes like, everyone go to this actual fic, and like if you want to like see me screen share, I'm screen sharing through YouTube, but like the little emmed Twitter bits are so cute. Zoe Puck. Me and my girlfriends have designated Minecraft time. It is that serious. That's so cute. That is so flipping cute. Tossy Bossy. Why is it impossible to get people to commit to playing Minecraft just like log on? Hardy Hard 6. Y'all cute or whatever. Superstar. Do you guys have separate rooms or one giant lesbian bunker? Banana Fine. This is cute, but if I speak any further, I'll become hateful. I love this whole bit. This is awesome. Yuri Block Europe. These usernames. Oh my god. Suspicious Logs 3. Polycule SMP when? The gif of the man handing the money. Zoe Squishy, Alice Notland. Minecraft date nights is actually insane level of lesbianism. And then it's me. I'm here. Where did the arty go? Not to be dramatic, but I'd kill for this. Yeah. 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 Sprite lover. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. That's really, really cute. Oh my God. Ah! I'm going to share this chapter with with the friend that I was sharing fanfics with and be like, see, I'm in it again. Sprite lover 21. Do you guys all mine together, or is it like one of you mining while the others are just yearning for diamonds in the background? Zoe Puck. Bold of you to assume I still yearn for diamonds when I get to log off next to 2 perfect gems every night. Hashtag stay blessed. That's so awesome. Matilda123. At definitely not Mira. Hashtag whatever. I don't even care for real. Hashtag they hate me. Hashtag so fake. Hashtag left out. Hashtag they don't love me anymore. Mira's so funny. Mira's so fun. And it's like she added another pony next to that. Drawing is so cute. Did Toss make that? That's so funny. That's so funny. This was Zoe's idea and reply to that. That's the quote retweet. Mira quote retweets it being like, whatever, I don't care. Whatever, don't care. Don't even care for real. Hashtag they hate me. Yeah. Ruminiscent. LMAO, Mira, you were busy when we went. Rumi. We made sure to get you wait. There's like 2 roomies? There's 2 roomies? There's Ruminiscent. Reply user. Maybe it was just a little whatever. Anyways, Rumi replies, LMAO, Mira, you were busy when we went. We made sure to get you one. Don't worry, my beautiful princess. Heart. Sit weird, kid 65. Wholesome Yuri right before my eyes. I love it here. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Mira be like, stranger on internet. I'm crying. Why she got a Lego hand? Matilda123 at definitely not Mira. Hashtag I love my Lego hand. Hashtag loser, you don't have one. Too cold for glue. Sure. If they don't love you, I can. You're going to love it over here. Little kissy emoji. Zoe Puck. I think that was supposed to be Zoe and the other one that's like labeled as Rumi. LMAO, Mira, you were busy when we went. Yeah. Oh my God. If they don't love it, you're going to love it. Oh, you're going to love it over here. Sorry, this is me trying to figure out this format. Okay. Zoe replies, it's your with the apostrophe, but nice try, buddy. She does not want you. You miss 100% of the shots you take on women with 2 girlfriends. By Zoe Gretzky. I love her. Rumi replies, listen here, pal. I can assure you she is very happy exactly where she is. Mira replies, that part. Hashtag love my girlfriends. Hashtag love pussy. Always knew what I wanted as a kid when I used to always pick scissor and rock, paper, scissor. Hashtag girl boss. Hashtag pussy slayer 3000. Hashtag I hate men. Oh my God. Blind deaf mute challenge featuring my GFs. Get excited. Wait, this freaking thumbnail with Zoro in there. Oh my God, chat, we might be cooked. Wait, the little Mira and Zoe. This is so cute. Oh, that's so funny. Wait, that's supposed to be Rumi? That is supposed to be Rumi. Why is she a rat? Why is she a rat? What is this chat, bro? What is happening in chat? There's no more books left, chat. What? Pure chaos incoming, as if it wasn't already. Thank God. Okay. The YouTube video opened in complete silence. Zoe stood in the middle of the kitchen staring directly into the camera with an intensity that would have looked intimidating if not for the horribly edited glowing blue eyes pasted over her real ones. This is giving like 2010s YouTube. This is like giving more like millennial YouTube than like Gen Z YouTube, but maybe she's reviving that style, you know? Maybe she's reviving it. Horribly edited glowing blue eyes pasted over her real ones. Behind her, Rumi and Mira stood shoulder to shoulder, wearing matching dead serious expressions, their own eyes glowing the exact same shade of fake neon blue, while overly dramatic cinematic music echoed faintly in the background like the intro to some low-budget apocalypse movie. For several painfully long seconds, hi, Reef! For several painfully long seconds, none of them moved. We're reading, don't clip that, by the way. They just stared into the camera like they were about to announce the end of civilization. Then Mira finally spoke without breaking eye contact with the camera. Why are we doing this? For dramatic effect, Zoe answered after a beat, remaining completely motionless. I'm gonna edit blue eyes onto all of us so we look more menacing. She got that right. Blue eyes do look more menacing. Oh, I was EP. Girl, you deserve to EP. You're working so much. It's okay. Um, right. Another beat silence. Rumi tilted her head, still staring into the camera. Do you guys think I'd look good with blue eyes? Probably, yes. Zoe and Mira answered at the exact same time. Rumi slowly turned to look at them. They looked back at her, then at each other. Liars. Now the three of them were crowded together against the kitchen counter, already visibly trying not to laugh before the video had even properly started. The camera angle sat slightly crooked, tilted just enough to suggest Zoe had absolutely propped her phone up against a random object 5 seconds before hitting record. She pointed dramatically at the lens. What is up, you? Mira flinched so violently her elbow smacked straight into the counter. Zoe immediately paused. Are you okay? Mira bent forward slightly, one hand gripped against the edge of the counter while the other pressed against her chest. She nodded a few times while trying to recover, eyes squeezed shut. I didn't know you were gonna yell, she muttered between breaths. You scared the shit out of me. A small giggle burst out of Zoe as she grabbed Mira by the shoulder, already apologizing through the laughter. I'm sorry. I should have warned you. That would have been nice, Mira mumbled, eyes still closed while trying to recover. You almost gave me a heart attack. I didn't think you'd actually get scared. Still giggling, Zoe reached over and pressed a dramatic hand against Mira's chest before her expression changed completely. Oh my god. Mira blinked at her. What? Dude, your heart is actually racing. I told you you fucking scared me, Mira said, finally laughing too despite herself. Normal people don't scream like they're opening WrestleMania at full volume. Zoe ignored her entirely and immediately turned toward the camera with wide eyes. Rumi, come feel this. Rumi, come feel this. Rumi was already smiling before she even walked over. Why are you saying that like she's a wounded animal? Because I think I activated her fight or flight response. You absolutely did. Rumi stepped closer and placed a hand lightly against Mira's chest. The second she felt how fast her heart was beating, her eyebrows lifted. Oh, wow, she said, looking over at Zoe with amused disbelief. You really did scare her. Jeez, Zoe. She should be used to my yelling by now, Zoe whined defensively. Now you're blaming her for being startled? I'm just saying. Before Zoe could defend herself further, Rumi slid an arm around Mira's waist and gently tugged her closer. Come here. Mira folded into the side hug instantly, like it was muscle memory at this point, and let out a quiet sigh while Rumi rubbed slow circles against her back. Poor baby, Rumi murmured softly, shooting Zoe the least threatening glare imaginable. You survived the big scary YouTube intro. What's up, YouTube? Zoe stared at both of them in complete betrayal. Her mouth literally hung open while one hand remained dramatically outstretched toward both of them and the camera, like she was seeking validation from the audience. Seriously? Neither of them looked at her. Rumi kept rubbing Mira's back while Mira leaned comfortably against her shoulder now, fully settled there. This is your fault. You guys are acting like I shot her. Ugh. At least she didn't say stab her. I think she should have said stab her, by the way. Is this Toss Lots of Sauce's new update of Don't Clip That? Yes, it is, baby. Oop, not the stabbing. Reef, where are you in Two's company? Did you take a break again? Did you catch up? Because Reef was catching up to Two's company a while ago, though. I have 3 15-hour shifts next week. Damn, that's rough. Have not touched it since I got to Alaska. That's so fair. That's so fair. I'm still waiting for the updates. The video cut back to both Zoe and Rumi still. The video cut back to both Zoe and Rumi still had their who still had their hands pressed against Mira's chest for absolutely no reason, while Mira stood in the middle, staring deadpan into the camera like she'd already accepted this was just her life now. This isn't weird at all, she said flatly. Neither of them moved their hands. Rumi blinked at the camera once before nodding seriously. Medically necessary. Zoe immediately nodded along beside her. Very serious procedure. Mira looked down slowly at the two hands still very obviously resting against her chest, then lifted her eyes back toward the camera with growing disbelief. I think you guys just want an excuse to grope me on camera. Zoe paused. Then, very deliberately, she looked down at where both her hand and Rumi's were still placed before glancing back up with a small grin spreading across her face. It's not what it looks like, she said confidently. Trust me. Beside her, Rumi instantly gave the camera a calm, reassuring thumbs up like she was addressing concerned family members in a hospital waiting room. We're professionals, she explained with complete sincerity. Prolonged skin contact helps regulate the heartbeat. Correct, Zoe added with a firm nod. We're actively helping her right now. Mira looked down at them again, then back up. I don't think my heart's over there. Zoe gently pressed a single finger against her lips. Shh. Rumi stepped in immediately after, reaching up to cup Mira's cheek with an expression so soft and genuine it almost sold the bit entirely. It's okay, she said quietly. The patient is delirious. Very common symptom, Zoe agreed. Confusion, disorientation, sudden distrust of medical professionals. Touching my boobs is not medical care. You hear that? Zoe asked Rumi gravely. She's getting combative now. Rumi nodded solemnly. We may be losing her. Mira stared at both of them for a long moment like she was genuinely reconsidering every life decision that had led her here. Then she slowly turned back toward the camera instead. A tiny text edit appeared beside her head. Don't be fooled. I love it here. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. I still need to catch up to Two's company. I mean, it hasn't updated in a while. You have time. Unless Toss gets crazy again and decides to upload it tonight. Well, the problem is I worked an 11-hour shift and walked for an hour to purchase a bicycle, which I then had to ride back home. I feel like a limp piece of spaghetti. Ah, my God. I'm sorry. This entire video is just one long string of ADHD tangents. I love it. The next clip opened with all three of them leaning shoulder to shoulder against the kitchen counter again, close enough that Zoe was casually bumping into both of them while she adjusted the camera angle with one hand. Okay, she announced, squinting at the screen for a second before seeming satisfied. I'm gonna do the thing. Are you guys ready for the thing? Mira immediately narrowed her eyes. Define the thing. The YouTuber voice. Mira nodded slowly. I appreciate the warning this time. Zoe grinned and nudged her side with an elbow. You're welcome. After taking an unnecessarily deep breath like she was preparing for battle, Zoe squared her shoulders and snapped her attention toward the camera. "What's up, YouTube?" she yelled at full volume. "Welcome back to another banger video." Halfway through the intro, she abruptly paused just long enough to glance sideways at Mira in silent verification. Mira gave her a calm thumbs up. Zoe nodded once and immediately continued. "Today, I'm here with my two awesome, amazing, incredibly gorgeous, beautiful, talented girlfriends who I cherish very deeply." Zoe gestured dramatically toward Rumi first. "Rumi?" Rumi smiled softly at the camera and lifted her hand in a tiny circular wave. "Hello." Then Zoe turned with the exact same level of presentation toward Mira. "And Mira!" Mira gave the camera a single nod. "Hi." The second she finished speaking, Zoe grabbed both of their faces at once and squished their cheeks inward until the two taller girls had to awkwardly hunch down closer to her height. Neither of them resisted, mostly because they were both already laughing too hard to fight back. "Many of you requested this challenge," Zoe continued while struggling to keep a straight face at their compressed faces. "And instead of calling me a stupid chud and abandoning me to film it alone, these two very kindly agreed to participate." She gave Mira's cheek an extra squeeze for emphasis before finally releasing them so they could stand upright again. "And especially Mira, who you all know is not exactly the biggest fan of being on camera." Mira immediately pointed both thumbs toward herself. "Truth." "But," Zoe continued, her voice softening a little as she smiled over at her, "we're slowly getting there. She went from being the off-screen cameraman during streams to actually appearing in pre-recorded videos now. That's huge, actually. That's huge, actually. That's huge, actually." Rumi nodded supportively beside her. "It is." Mira looked between the two of them suspiciously for a second before muttering, "You guys are making this sound like exposure therapy." "It kinda is," Zoe admitted. "Except with more lesbians," Rumi added helpfully. "Way more lesbians," Zoe agreed immediately. "So everybody, please give her a round of applause for the character development." Without hesitation, both Zoe and Rumi started clapping aggressively beside her while an obviously edited in-stock applause track blasted through the video at full volume like she just won an award. Mira stared at them for a second before she slowly turned her head to the camera, one side of her mouth quirking upward into an awkward half smile. At the exact same time, a poorly cropped image of Ellie from The Last of Us flashed beside her face for less than a second before disappearing again. Mira immediately this is just like what Toss would do, I feel like, in a YouTube video. That's the sense that I'm getting. Mira immediately looked back at what is a Zoe fic if not a self-insert? Mira immediately looked back at Zoe afterward. "I did the Ellie thing from that photo," she explained, gesturing vaguely toward her own face. "Can you put them side by?" Oh, Mira is saying this. "I did the Ellie thing from that photo," she explained, gesturing vaguely toward her own face. "Can you put them side by side when you edit this? I think this one was my best attempt so far." Zoe was already grinning. "Yeah, I can do that." Mira folded her arms thoughtfully. "Do you think that was the right amount of awkward?" she asked seriously. "Or should I have committed harder?" "Wait," Rumi interrupted, squinting at her slightly. "Do it again." "Yeah, do it again," Zoe agreed instantly. Turned fully toward them before recreating the expression with complete seriousness, one side of her mouth lifting into that painfully specific awkward little smirk. Zoe stared at her for a second. "No, wait," she added, nodding. "That's kind of perfect." She looked over at Rumi for confirmation. "Right? She really embodies her." Rumi nodded once without even hesitating. "Yes, it's weirdly accurate." "Thank you," Mira replied solemnly, accepting the compliment like she'd spent years mastering the craft. Then she sighed and leaned back against the counter again, arms still crossed loosely. I don't know. I really like doing that expression, she admitted. There's just something about randomly hitting it that's. She paused mid thought, visibly trying to find the right wording. I don't know how to explain it, but it just works. Yeah, no, I get exactly what you mean. Yeah, no, I get exactly what you mean, Rumi said through a quiet laugh. Zoe nodded thoughtfully too. It's a really versatile emote. Exactly. Mira crossed her arms tighter while trying to explain herself. Like someone could be like, "Oh my god, my dog died." And then I just She's so funny. And then I just she hit the expression again. That's rough, buddy. Can you imagine? Ruby recoiled immediately. What? Zoe slowly turned toward the camera with an expression of genuine concern. Mira! No, wait, Mira said immediately, already breaking into laughter as she dragged a hand down her face. That was a terrible example. That was actually insane. Rumi managed through her own laughter. I panicked. You went straight to someone's dog dying. I didn't know my brain was going to pick that scenario specifically. Zoe was laughing too hard to speak now, bent halfway over the counter while Mira hid her face behind both hands. You know what I meant, though, she mumbled through her laughter. Like, emotionally supportive, but also kind of awkward. Rumi wiped dramatically beneath one eye as if she just lived through something devastating. No, because now if I ever get a dog and it dies, I'm immediately gonna picture Mira standing there making that face at me. On instinct alone, Mira Mira hit the expression again. Mira hit the expression again. Stop! Zoe had to lean fully back against the counter now because she genuinely couldn't breathe properly anymore. Oh no, wait, she wheezed, wiping tears from the corners of her eyes. Hi, I'm a random person, and I told Mira I got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and she literally just. Zoe abruptly turned toward the camera and recreated the exact same awkward half smirk. That's rough, buddy. Rumi lost it immediately, shoving Zoe's shoulder while laughing. Okay, no, wait. You just got laid off from your dream job, and then your significant other of 10 years, who still hasn't proposed, by the way, even though you spent all your money supporting them because they promised they were going to get a job, but secretly they were just freeloading the entire relationship. She somehow said the entire thing in one breath, which I didn't. Breaks up with you. Breaks up with you. There was a stunned silence. Zoe blinked softly. Whoa. Even Mira looked concerned now. That was really specific. Rumi glanced between them mildly startled as well, like the words didn't just come from her mouth. I actually don't know where all that came from. Then she immediately straightened and pointed at herself. But look, I'm Mira. At the exact same time, both Rumi and Zoe hit the awkward little half smirk in perfect synchronization. That's rough, buddy. The second the words left their mouths, both of them collapsed into laughter again. They're so silly. They're just stupid idiots. Mira made the loudest. They will like literally run the bit to the ground. Mira made the loudest suffering noise yet and folded forward onto the counter, burying her face in her crossed arms. Oh my god, she groaned. You two are actually insufferable. That's terrible, Mira. Rumi giggled, reaching over to affectionately pat the back of her head while she was still folded over the counter in shame. It was a bad example, Mira whined into her arms. I wasn't thinking, I meant like normal situations, regular conversations. Zoe grinned and leaned her full weight against Mira's back now that she was bent over dramatically. You know, I'd actually beat you up if you said that to me in real life, right? Mira snorted against her sleeves before finally lifting her head enough to glance back at her. Honestly, fair. You deserve it, Rumi added, helpfully. At that point, Mira just dragged both hands slowly down her face in defeat. I don't even want to talk anymore. That's rough, buddy, Zoe said instantly. Mira stared at her in complete silence for a full second before slowly pointing toward the camera. Can you edit me leaving the room here? They're so silly. The challenge hasn't even started. They're not doing a fucking challenge. They're literally just like being gay. They're just literally just being gay. That's rough, buddy. I use that's rough, buddy all the time. I don't do the smirk, but I do the that's rough, buddy. But the smirk is just Wait, is that all of that part of the video? I think so. I think so. I mean, Zoe's editing this later, but like that's a lot of stuff to edit. Hi, Chris. Hello. Is Reef still here? Reef was here. I don't know if she's still here. Anyway. Yeah, we're reading Don't Clip That chapter 2. If you missed that. Yep, this entire thing is the video itself, by the way, is like 36 minutes long if that thumbnail is accurate. So this whole thing I think is taking like the first, I don't know, at least 6 minutes. Like this is I'm guessing this is happening faster than I'm reading. They're so silly though. Zoe smacked both hands loudly against the counter like she'd suddenly remembered they were supposed to be filming an actual video instead of bullying Mira for 20 consecutive minutes. Apparently, it was taking 20 minutes. Actually, ignore me. Back to the video. She pointed dramatically toward the camera again. Today, we are doing the deaf, mute, and blind baking challenge. This is so 2010s YouTube. Like, it's actually unreal. Zoe gestured proudly toward the ingredients scattered across the counter behind them. Except instead of baking a cake, we're making pizza. Rumi nodded immediately. I think we can do this. All right, let's get started. Mira glanced between the ingredients spread across the counter and the two of them beside her, one eyebrow lifting slightly as she took in the situation. Who's being who? Zoe's mouth formed into a small O shape, realizing what had completely slipped her mind. I'm so glad you asked. Without another word, she abruptly darted out of frame, leaving Mira and Rumi staring after her in silence. A loud cabinet slam echoed from somewhere off screen, followed by hurried movement, and then, just as quickly, Zoe rushed back into view holding a clear glass bowl filled with 3 crumpled slips of paper. Don't open it until we all get one. Rumi reached in first, fishing out a slip without hesitation, followed by Mira, who unfolded hers halfway before remembering the rule and pausing. Zoe snatched the last one with unnecessary flair. On 3, Zoe said. Nobody counted. All three opened their slips at the same time anyway. Zoe looked down at hers, her expression immediately dropping as she let out a long, dramatic sigh. I got mute, she said, holding the paper up to the camera like she'd just received devastating news. Mira unfolded hers next, scanning it quickly before lifting it as well. Deaf. Rumi opened the final slip, a small smile forming as she read it. And I got blind. Zoe clapped once, the energy snapping right back into place. Oh, this is actually a really interesting setup. She turned abruptly and grabbed Mira by both shoulders, her expression sharpening with sudden, intense focus. Okay, we need strategy. Mira blinked at her, caught off guard by the shift in energy. You're going to be the main person physically doing things, Zoe continued, gesturing quickly between all of them as she spoke. Rumi can hear, so she'll guide you, and I can see, so I'll guide her. Mira nodded, her eyes sharpening in that determined way as she processed it, then smacked her fist into her palm. I totally get what you're putting down. Zoe broke into a grin and immediately stuck her hand out toward her. Teamwork on me. Teamwork on 3. 1, 2. She paused when neither of them moved. No? Okay. You guys hate me. Oh my god. Now the challenge is finally starting. Give me a second. Why did I kind of think they'd have those rules? Zoe mute. Zoe mute. I just joined. I don't know what's happening. We're reading Don't Clip That. So they're just filming a YouTube video. They're just being silly. They're just being silly goofs. Now the challenge had officially started. Mira stood at the counter wearing oversized noise-canceling headphones, subtly bopping her head to the music only she could hear. Zoe had a strip of bright blue tape stretched dramatically over her mouth, while Rumi stood beside them blindfolded, her hands resting carefully against the counter as she oriented herself. All the ingredients for the pizza were spread out in front of them within reach. Mira's also going to be reading questions you guys asked us while we do this, Rumi explained, giving the camera a confident thumbs up. That's so funny. Zoe added enthusiastically through the tape. A small caption popped up beside her head. Yes! Both of them turned toward Mira expectantly. Mira, however, continued staring off into space for several seconds, still faintly nodding along to whatever was blasting through her headphones. Eventually, she glanced over. What? She asked at full volume. Rumi flinched. What song are you listening to? What song are you listening to? She called back, raising her voice to compensate. What? Rumi tried again, louder this time. What song are you listening? Huh? What song? I can't hear you! Rumi pressed a hand against her forehead. I'm already stressed. Beside her, Zoe's shoulders shook lightly while she silently giggled behind the tape. With a quiet sigh, Rumi stepped closer and carefully exaggerated each word, mouthing it slowly and clearly. What are you listening to? Mira's face lit up instantly in recognition. Oh, right now Decode by Paramore is playing, period, that's my fucking girl, that's my girl, period, exactly, of course she's listening to Paramore, duh. Mira, I love you, Mira, I love you. Right now Decode by Paramore is playing, she said, far too loudly. And it's really loud, so trying to figure out what you're saying feels impossible because there are drums and guitars basically exploding directly into my skull right now. Rumi nodded like that was genuinely useful information. That's good to know. Mira glanced back down at the recipe on her phone, scanning it for a second before straightening slightly as if something in her brain clicked into place. And anyway, she announced at full volume, we need to make the dough. She squinted harder at the screen for a second before immediately slipping into the role of project manager with unwavering confidence. Okay, Rumi, there should be a big mixing bowl somewhere in front of you. And Zoe, she pointed vaguely off in the completely wrong direction before stopping herself. Actually, no, wait. Zoe can see. Zoe, guide her hands to the bowl first. Zoe saluted with exaggerated seriousness. Aye, aye, Captain. Rumi lifted both hands cautiously, feeling out of space in front of her, and Zoe stepped in to grab her wrists, guiding them around the counter with intense focus like she was defusing a bomb. Little left, Mira instructed. Rumi shifted. Other left. Wow, thank you. Okay, now there should be flour near the bowl, Mira continued, glancing back at the recipe as she scrolled. And yeast, and warm water. Zoe immediately started tapping Rumi's hands against random ingredients like a claw machine desperately trying to lock onto a prize. No, wait, that's cheese, Mira corrected. Rumi picked it up anyway. Can we use it? Zoe smacked her hand lightly, a sign for no. What about eating it as a tiny snack? Zoe rubbed her hand lightly as a yes. Rumi nodded to herself and popped a few stray pieces into her mouth, humming happily. Wait, what are the questions? Zoe, wait, where are the questions? Zoe? Zoe perked up instantly, grabbed her phone, and hurried over before carefully placing it into Mira's hand. Here. Thank you. Mira unlocked it and started scrolling, half focused, while Rumi continued mixing the dough with a level of confidence that felt increasingly unwarranted given the circumstances. Okay, first question is, Mira's expression shifted slightly as she kept reading. What was your reaction when Zoe told you she streamed for a living? Did you take it seriously or think it was immature or embarrassing at first? She frowned almost immediately. I don't like this question. Rumi slowed her mixing just a little, her expression tightening behind the blindfold. Yeah, she said after a second. It's quite rude. It feels like they're assuming we'd automatically look down on her for it. Zoe, who had been moving around beside them, went noticeably still. Weh. Rumi turned instinctively toward where she thought Zoe was standing, her tone softening even as she kept her hands working the dough. I honestly think questions like that are part of why streaming gets treated weirdly in general, she said. Oh, sorry, that was Rumi. I honestly think questions like that are part of why streaming gets treated weirdly in general, she said. People still act like it isn't a real career, even though it obviously is. And honestly, I think that stigma is probably part of why Zoe was nervous telling us in the first place. Still blindfolded, Rumi turned completely in the wrong direction. Zoe immediately broke into muffled giggles and stepped in, gently grabbing her shoulders to rotate her toward the right spot. Rumi smiled as she felt herself being corrected. Thank you. She didn't miss a beat as she continued. I actually thought it was really cool when she told me, she said, giving a small, casual shrug. Zoe's expression softened almost instantly. Like, she talks to thousands of people almost every day, Rumi went on, her tone thoughtful but warm. That's hard. Even just talking to a handful of people can be nerve wracking sometimes, but she does it constantly. And she's good at it. And she built all of it herself, she added, her hands still working the dough with steady focus. That takes a lot more effort than people realize. Streaming isn't just turning on the camera and magically succeeding. There's editing, planning, keeping a schedule, constantly interacting with people, handling criticism, staying entertaining even on bad days. She paused slightly, then smiled to herself. I remember thinking it really suited her, though. She's good at making people feel comfortable. They're so cute. They're so freaking cute. Zoe looked genuinely emotional now, her usual energy quieting as she just watched her. Mira glanced up from the phone. Yeah, whatever Rumi said, I agree. Rumi let out a quiet laugh at that. Mira went back to staring at the question like it had personally wronged her, rereading it with a slight scowl. When Zoe told me she streamed, I thought it was sick, she said with a shrug. I still think it's sick. She lifted her head again, raising her voice slightly to cut through the music blasting in her headphones. To me, streaming sounds exhausting. You have to constantly have energy and be on around people, entertaining them for hours while thousands of people are watching literally everything you do. She shook her head once. I could never do it. Zoe's gaze stayed fixed on her, brown eyes rather large. But she still shows up every day anyway, Mira continued. Even when she's tired, even when she's stressed, even when she's not feeling great. She shrugged again, simple and certain. That says a lot about her to me. For a moment, the kitchen settled into a softer kind of quiet, broken only by the steady sound of Rumi mixing dough. But honestly, the weirdest part of this question is the implication that we'd have any kind of say in what she does with her life. Rumi nodded immediately. Yeah. Mira leaned back against the counter, folding her arms as she spoke, her tone blunt but steady. I don't care that she streams as her job. It makes her happy and she enjoys it, and she's successful at it. Why would I have a problem with that? She gestured loosely towards Zoe. If anything, I'm proud of her. Zoe looked like she might combust on the spot. And even if me or Rumi did randomly decide to be weird about it, Mira continued, completely unfazed, Zoe wouldn't put up with that anyway. Rumi let out a soft laugh. She really wouldn't. We literally would not be standing here right now, Mira went on. because she deserves people around her who support what she loves doing, not people who make her feel embarrassed about it. Rumi hummed in agreement. Exactly. Mira gave the phone one last glance before lowering it with a small shake of her head. So yeah, stupid question. For a moment, the kitchen fell quiet again. Then, without warning, Zoe lunged forward and pulled both of them into a hug. Rumi laughed in surprise as she was yanked off balance, while Mira nearly dropped the phone in the process. Mm. Mm. Zoe clung to them with her full weight, squeezing tightly as she made a series of loud, emotional, completely unintelligible noises through the tape. A subtitle popped up over her head. I love you guys so much. Yeah, they're so sweet. Hashtag need. Hashtag need so bad. Oh my god. Where are my two emotionally supportive girlfriends? Where are my two girlfriends? Is Crash here? We were talking like a week ago um after doing movie night with like Crash and Asher, and they were like, "Oh my god, Broccoli's back." They make me feel so single. No, seriously. Crash was like, "Oh my god, how is Project Find Artie a Girlfriend going?" And I'm like, "It's not going." It's not going. Oh, they're so sweet. It's sickening. They make me feel homophobic. Slash J. I love them. I love them. What fic is this? This is Don't Clip That by Toss Lots of Sauce, author of Two's Company. Yeah, it's her streamer Zoe AU. So I got in a fight with my coworker. Oh no. Wah. Bye. Bye. Number one Marcy Woofing. Bye. Mercury. Gotcha. Bye. I'm sorry, Broccoli. Hope you're doing okay. Yeah. No, yeah, you're God. 16-hour days is a lot. It's a lot. Is Mira both deaf? No, Mira's deaf, Rumi's blind. That's why Mira's always shouting, "Oh my god, Toss sent me Toss sent me oranges." You're so funny. You're so funny. No, don't be. I'm fine. I'm their god today. That's good. That sounds bad. No, I support it. I support it. Toss, you're so funny, by the way. Okay. The next clip opened with the three of them back in the kitchen, now in different clothes, the sunlight streaming through the windows noticeably dimmer as late afternoon slipped into evening. Mira gave the camera a thumbs up. We waited a few hours for the dough to rise, she announced. Now we can continue. Rumi stood beside her, her hands resting patiently against the counter, while Zoe bounced nearby with entirely too much energy for someone who had been filming for hours. Mira grabbed the bag of flour and dusted a layer across the counter. All right, she said. We can start kneading the dough now. The second the flour hit the surface, something in Zoe's brain visibly disconnected from reality. Without hesitation, she plunged both hands into the loose flour and clapped them upward with full force. A massive white cloud exploded into the air. Flour rained down over Zoe's hair, her shirt, the counter, and the floor like fresh snowfall. The kitchen went silent. Mira slowly turned her head and stared. Why did you do that? She asked flatly. Zoe pointed at herself, then up toward the air, then made a vague tossing motion with both hands like that somehow explained anything at all. Rumi tilted her head slightly toward the sudden quiet. Wait, what happened? Mira didn't take her eyes off Zoe. Zoe threw flour into the air. There was a brief pause. Why? Zoe immediately launched into a frantic, muffled explanation behind the tape. She gestured wildly the entire time, recreating the same dramatic upward motion as flour continued drifting off her sleeves and shoulders. Mira's head bobbed eagerly, eyes widening slightly as she listened carefully and took it all in. Yeah, she said after a moment. No, I completely understand the reasoning. Zoe lit up instantly, pointing at her in validation. Mm-hmm. You're cleaning that up, by the way. Zoe deflated on the spot. The screen immediately cut to black. White text appeared. I got possessed by LeBron for a moment. I got possessed by LeBron for a moment and had to do the chalk toss with the flower. She's so silly. She's just a silly girl. Oh. Zoe trying to speak with tape on mouth, a compilation. Exactly. The next clip opened with Rumi kneading the dough carefully against the counter while Mira stood nearby, watching her with a level of focus that felt a little too intense for the situation. The kitchen was quieter now, aside from the faint sound of music leaking from Mira's headphones. You're kneading the dough, Mira observed. Rumi smiled immediately. Yes, she said patiently. I am kneading the dough. Mira nodded slowly, arms folded as she leaned back against the counter, continuing to watch Rumi work the dough back and forth. Yeah, she said after a second. Knead that dough. Rumi's mouth twitched upward. I'm kneading it. Yeah? Yeah. Mira tilted her head slightly, clearly committing to whatever this was now, completely unaware of how she sounded. I like the way you knead it. Rumi physically bit her lip to keep from laughing. Yeah? Mm-hmm. You think I have a good technique? I think your form is incredible. That did it. That did it. Rumi let out a quiet laugh under her breath, though her hands kept moving as she started kneading the dough a little more dramatically. What is happening right now? I did not sign up for this. I did not sign up for erotic dough kneading. Why is Rumi erotically kneading dough now? Oh my god. Okay. She's kneading the dough, whatever. Oh yeah? The camera slowly panned away from them and landed directly on Zoe. She looked absolutely horrified. Flowers still dusted her hair as she stared at the two of them like she had just walked into something deeply inappropriate. A slow zoom in magnified her increasingly traumatized expression. Text appeared on screen. What the hell is going on? She was so scared right now. What? Mira asked, finally noticing Zoe staring at them. Why are you making that face? Rumi immediately lost it, laughing again as her hand stayed planted in the dough. Kneading dough takes great form, Mira continued seriously, completely unfazed. Yeah, Rumi added smoothly, still working the dough like nothing was wrong. I have incredible form, Zoe. Mira nodded in approval. She really does. Come over here, Rumi said. Wait, are they still deaf and blind? I think. I think so. Yeah. Come over here, Rumi said, turning vaguely in Zoe's direction despite the blindfold. Okay, they are. Knead the dough with us. Zoe immediately looked at the camera and shook her head with genuine urgency, muffled laughter spilling out behind the tape as she pointed firmly at herself. A subtitle popped up over her head. I'm good, actually. Zoe paused for a second, then abruptly reached up and ripped the tape off her mouth. Wait, she said, narrowing her eyes at Mira. How could you hear Rumi if you were listening to music? Mira froze. Okay, that makes more sense. Then, very slowly, and not even remotely sneakily, she reached up and unpaused the music in her headphones. Whoops. Cheater! God forbid a girl wants to hear her girlfriend's voice after a while of music, Mira shot back, rolling her eyes with a small huff. Aw, that's sweet. I won't say anything, but you better not do it again. I understand, chef. Thank you, chef. Mira replied immediately, bowing her head with mock seriousness. Zoe flipped her off. Who would win in a fight against each other? Mira read the next question out loud before slowly lowering the phone and looking directly into the camera. Oh, I'm letting Zoe answer this one. Zoe's eyes lit up instantly. She straightened to her full height, cracked her knuckles with unnecessary intensity, and pointed at herself with the confidence of someone about to deliver the speech of a lifetime. Mm, 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 mm. Before she could even finish, an overly dramatic text-to-speech narrator voice boomed over her muffled sounds. Ah, a most perilous inquiry indeed. For within the kitchen stand three warriors alike in one most fatal regard, stubbornness. Zoe continued, gesturing wildly like a general planning war strategy. Mm, mm, mm. The voice continued. Thus, the battle would not be swift. Nay, it would be a merciless clash of attrition, a drawn out war of flour, sweat, bloodshed, and emotional devastation. Zoe pointed dramatically between Mira and Rumi while continuing her muffled monologue with increasing intensity. Mm, 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 mm. At first glance, one may assume these maidens capable of rivaling my immeasurable greatness. Zoe paused, then slowly shook her head with theatrical pity. Hmm. But alas, they would fail. She placed a hand over her own chest solemnly. Hmm. And from the ashes of battle, I alone would emerge victorious, crowned supreme champion of the realm. She held the pose for a second too long. Then her shoulders suddenly sagged. Zoe leaned dramatically against the counter, lowering her head as if weighed down by invisible grief. Mm, 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 mm. The narrator voice softened into tragic melancholy. Yet victory would bring me no joy. For what is triumph without those dearest to my heart beside me? Zoe, fully committed, lifted her gaze toward the ceiling, eyes distant and wistful, like she was staring into a future where she had already lost everything. And so, after bathing in the hollow glory of conquest, I too would cast myself onto the afterlife so that we may once more be reunited beyond death's cruel veil. The kitchen fell silent. Then Zoe suddenly shot upright and clapped once. Mm-hmm. The end. Rumi immediately burst into applause, nodding with exaggerated sincerity. Wow, she said. That was a very moving speech. Thank you. Mira clapped too, just as solemn. Whatever she said. Zoe gave a series of graceful bows toward the camera, finishing with a finger heart as if she just completed a full stage performance. For a second, fake cinematic credits music swelled dramatically over the scene. That was incredible. I love that. I think I can do that forever. I can do the I love that so much. Gonna take note of something. Okay. 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 I'm gonna take a little break. This Toss gave us this after the recent Two's Company chapter as an apology chapter. Yeah. Oh my god, it's not open. Ah. POV Artie is a fish underwater talking. Yeah, we all got what she said. Oh. Yeah, need. I mean, yeah, need my. Oh my god. Oh my god. Artie, say hi to Austin for me, please. I want to make him happy. He's not here, but I bet he'd like to be here. I'll send a little DM to Austin being like, Broccoli said hi. That's cute. You guys are cute. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Katie. Okay. Okay. Now the dough sat finished on the counter in front of them. Rumi tilted her head thoughtfully. Wait, do we spin the dough? Like how they toss it up in the air? A beat passed before she remembered. Mira! Mira turned toward them. Yeah? Rumi reached out vaguely in her direction, and Zoe immediately stepped in, grabbing her arm and gently redirecting it toward where Mira was actually standing. Thank you, Rumi muttered. Mira walked over, squinting slightly. What? Rumi carefully exaggerated each word as she mouthed it. Do we need to toss the pizza dough in the air? Mira blinked, processing, then nodded once. We don't have to, she answered loudly. But if you want to, sure. She immediately pointed at herself. But I want to go first. Mira dusted her hands with flour, her confidence completely unshaken, then lifted the dough and began stretching it between her fingers with surprising control. Oh, wait, Rumi said, suddenly excited, her blindfold still firmly in place. Is she actually doing it? Mm-hmm, Zoe answered urgently, already bracing for impact. Mira tossed the dough upward. The video instantly slowed. Cinematic, orchestral music surged as the dough spun gracefully through the air, perfectly framed, impossibly elegant. For one brief, shining second, Mira looked genuinely cool. And then the dough began to fall, directly toward the very small gap between her hands. Zoe's muffled scream stretched out in slow motion as the inevitable unfolded. And then the video snapped back to normal speed. Smack! The dough hit the floor, covered in flour, with a flat, devastating finality. Silence. Mira stared down at the floor for exactly 1 second before immediately scooping the dough back up like nothing had happened. Zoe slowly turned toward her, her expression settling into pure disbelief. Rumi tilted her blindfolded head slightly. Did she drop it? Zoe reached over and gently patted Rumi's arm, then nodded with quiet, solemn confirmation. Rumi let out a deep, disappointed sigh. Mira, still holding the dough in both hands, flashed the same stupid one-sided smirk. 5 second rule, she offered weakly. Zoe looked genuinely betrayed. The screen smash cut immediately. The three of them stood in the refrigerated grocery aisle, staring directly into the camera. Mira still had flour in her hair. Are they buying pizza dough now? Zoe clasped her hands together with sudden professional composure. So, she began calmly, we decided to purchase pre-made dough instead of restarting from scratch because making another batch would take too long and we would actually like to finish this video today. As she spoke, both she and Rumi slowly turned their heads toward Mira in unison. Mira stood halfway out of frame, clutching the packaged dough to her chest while looking vaguely guilty. Don't stare at me like that, she muttered. You guys are scaring me. Good, Zoe replied instantly. She cracked her knuckles with unnecessary intensity and stepped closer. Because after dropping the dough, she continued, we're gonna beat you up. Rumi nodded once, like this was completely reasonable. This was a completely reasonable course of action, then casually walked out of frame. A second later, Mira was abruptly shoved fully back into view as Rumi reappeared behind her, grabbing both her arms to hold her in place. Hold her down, Zoe muttered. Mira blinked once, then smirked. Kinky. Zoe's entire threatening posture collapsed immediately. She turned away, covering part of her face with one hand as she tried not to laugh. You can't say stuff like that while we're trying to do a bit, she complained, her voice strained with barely contained laughter. Rumi's shoulders were shaking now too, her grip loosening slightly. They're doing this in the grocery store, by the way. They're doing this in the grocery store. That's so ridiculous. Oh my god. Mira, meanwhile, looked entirely too pleased with herself. What? She asked, all false innocence. Zoe forced herself to straighten back up, dragging her composure back into place. Nothing should be funny right now, she declared, clearly fighting for her life. I'm about to wipe that smirk off your face. Mira scoffed. I'd like to see you try. Quit talking back, Rumi muttered, jerking Mira backwards slightly like an overcommitted movie henchman. Zoe raised one fist dramatically, clearly trying to look intimidating, despite the fact she was already grinning too hard to fully commit to it. That pretty little face of yours won't be so pretty when I'm done with you. Mira blinked at her, and just like that, every ounce of attitude vanished from her expression. Wait, wait, wait. Zoe froze too, realization hitting her a second too late. You think I'm pretty? A dangerous silence followed. Zoe opened her mouth, then closed it, gaping like a fish, while Rumi made a noise beside them that sounded suspiciously close to choking. No. Mira's entire face softened into instant, smug triumph. No, she repeated slowly, already savoring victory. You do. Zoe crossed her arms like that would somehow save her now. Fine, she huffed, trying and failing to sound defensive. And so, what if I do? That completely shattered whatever composure Rumi still had left. She bent forward, laughing, while Mira smoothly slipped out of her grip and took a dramatic step backward, one hand pressed over her chest. I knew it, she whispered breathlessly. Zoe immediately broke into laughter again, but Mira kept going anyway, visibly fighting to stay in character. I knew underneath that cold, dark, cold heart, there was softness hidden deep inside. Zoe looked away with exaggerated shame. You found me out. Mira pointed accusingly at her. When you slammed my head into lockers and almost drowned me in public bathroom sinks. What kind of role play are they doing? Why are they doing bullied role play? Oh my god. When you slammed my head into lockers and almost drowned me in the public bathroom sinks. She closed her eyes briefly, trying not to laugh. I knew there had to be tenderness behind her actions. At that point, Rumi physically doubled over, clutching her stomach while Zoe pressed a hand dramatically against her own chest like Mira had exposed some terrible secret. I guess. I guess, she started solemnly. I've always had a soft spot for nerds. Mira gasped softly. The camera immediately zoomed in on her face while fake emotional piano music started playing. You mean it? Zoe stepped closer and grabbed Mira's hand. I was only bullying you to hide my true feelings. Rumi suddenly straightened and pointed at both of them in outrage. Wait a minute, she interrupted. So what was my role in this scenario? Zoe and Mira both turned toward her at the same time. You were the homophobic best friend. Homophobic best friend, Mira answered instantly. What? Mira barely even acknowledged her outrage before slowly turning back towards Zoe again. Suddenly remembering they were apparently still in the middle of their deeply emotional roleplay, she stepped closer with exaggerated nervousness, brushing a hand awkwardly against the back of her neck before glancing away. I mean, Mira said softly, I could use a purple nurple right about now. Rumi immediately made the loudest, most horrified noise either of them had ever heard come out of a human being. Zoe didn't even hesitate. A small smirk spread across her face as she reached over and grabbed Mira's hand with absolute commitment to the bit. It would be my pleasure. And then the two of them casually walked out of frame together. Oh, that was Zoe, sorry. It would be my pleasure. And then the two of them casually walked out of frame together like they were exiting the emotional final scene of a romance movie while Rumi was left abandoned in the middle of a grocery aisle. She sighed wistfully toward the camera. And they got married, and they got happily married and moved away. A beat passed. The end. Sad piano music abruptly started playing over the footage while the camera slowly zoomed in on Rumi's devastated expression. They're so silly. Oh my god. Fanfic in a fanfic for real. They're so silly. Mira's a theater kid. Um, Oh, I was repeating some lines because my mouth is getting anyway. I'm trying to keep up. I haven't done a live in a while, y'all. I haven't done a live in a while. Gotta go, guys. Bye, broccoli. Best of luck at work. Now the camera showed Zoe and Rumi wandering through the grocery store side by side, both still slightly out of breath from laughing too hard. We got a little sidetracked, Rumi admitted. A little? Zoe snorted from behind the camera. But, Rumi continued with forced composure, we did successfully acquire the dough and drinks for the pizza. As she spoke, she slowly turned the camera several feet ahead of them, where Mira stood staring at a shelf with deep concentration. One arm was hooked through the shopping basket, now overflowing with ingredients, snacks, and at least 6 things they definitely had not come to buy. Apparently, Rumi whispered dramatically, Mira needed a very specific ingredient. Zoe let out the let out the s- Zoe let out a small hum. Look at her carrying all the groceries like a gentlewoman. So hot, Rumi sighed wistfully. Mira remained completely unaware she was currently being filmed like a wildlife documentary. She's providing, Zoe whispered emotionally. She's hunting and gathering, Rumi added. The camera slowly panned back toward the two of them while they struggled to keep themselves together. Should we go talk to that beautiful woman over there? Zoe adjusted her glasses with exaggerated seriousness. I think we should. The camera flipped around again as they approached Mira together like two teenage boys trying to flirt for the first time in their lives. Excuse me, miss, Zoe said politely. Mira looked over immediately, one eyebrow already lifting in suspicion the second she realized the camera was pointed at her. Me and my girlfriend here, Zoe continued while gesturing toward Rumi, thought you were extremely beautiful and wanted to know if maybe we could take you out to dinner sometime. Mira stared at both of them silently. Rumi slowly turned the camera back toward herself and Zoe, and the second both of them saw the absolute lack of reaction on Mira's face, their confidence started evaporating almost instantly. Zoe's smile twitched. Rumi looked like she was seconds away from laughing. Uh, she started carefully, trying to salvage the situation while already grinning. Is that a yes? Or. The camera swung back toward Mira. She was still standing there, holding the basket on her arm, completely expressionless. Then, after another long second, she gave a small shake of her head like she just snapped herself out of a deep thought. Oh, sorry, she said casually. I was trying to turn you both into stone and explode you with my mind, but it didn't work. There was a pause. Zoe looked genuinely unsettled. Rumi bit her lips slightly. Hot. Okay, Zoe muttered cautiously. Totally not weird at all. But anyway, would you maybe want to go out with us? Mira adjusted the basket on her arm like she was considering it seriously. No, she said simply. I'm good. And why not? Because, Mira replied while already starting to walk backward away from them. I'm taken. And then she turned and speed walked off down the aisle before either of them could respond. Wait! Zoe shouted. The camera jolted violently as both she and Rumi started chasing after Mira through the aisle, laughing hysterically. Loud footsteps echoed through the store while the camera bounced around wildly. Mira looked over her shoulder mid speed walk with genuine fear in her eyes. Get away from me! You can't just reject us like that! Zoe yelled after her. We're nice people if that helps, Rumi added. They're fun. They were finally back in the kitchen. All three of them looking slightly disheveled from whatever emotional side quest the grocery store trip had apparently evolved into. The pizza dough sat stretched across the counter in a vaguely uneven heart shape, while ingredients and snacks covered almost every available surface. Okay, Rumi announced. We officially have everything now. Zoe gave a victorious thumbs up. Mm-hmm. A subtitle popped up over her head. We survived! Mira snorted softly at that while sliding the bowl of tomato sauce towards Zoe, who immediately started spreading it across the dough with the kind of aggressive concentration usually reserved for construction work. While she worked, Mira picked Zoe's phone back up to read through the next question submission. Okay, next question, she said, squinting slightly at the screen. What's your favorite thing about each other? Oh, that's cute, Rumi said immediately, her voice softening. Mira hummed thoughtfully while nudging the bowl of cheese closer to Zoe next. I'd probably say. She paused for a second, glancing between the two of them. I never really get bored around these two. Zoe looked up instantly. Like, there's genuinely never a dull moment around them, she said, a smile pulling up at the corners of her mouth. Even when we're doing absolutely nothing, somehow something stupid still ends up happening. Usually because of Zoe, Rumi added immediately. Zoe pointed at herself in offense, still holding the sauce spoon. Hmm? Rumi laughed softly and reached out blindly for the cheese until Zoe finally sighed through her nose and guided her hands toward the bowl. And also, Mira continued, her voice quieter this time as she rested her elbows against the counter, I don't really feel drained around them. That made both Zoe and Rumi glance toward her at the same time. Mira noticed immediately and gave a small shrug, already looking slightly embarrassed by how sincere she sounded. I don't know how to explain it properly, she admitted. Usually, being around people for too long kind of exhausts me, even if I actually like them. But with these two, it's easy. Oh, Mira, introvert, my beloved. Rumi's entire expression softened. I can just exist around them. There's no pressure to constantly talk or act a certain way or perform or anything. We can just sit there doing nothing and it's still nice. Zoe had completely stopped what she was doing now, staring at Mira with full attention. And they make me feel. Mira hesitated for a second, searching for the wording before finally sighing in defeat. Safe, I guess. Comfortable. The second the words left her mouth, she visibly regretted them. Yuck, she muttered under her breath, looking away with an awkward laugh. That sounded emotional. It was emotional, Rumi said warmly. Before Mira could recover, Zoe suddenly reached over and grabbed her face with both hands. A subtitle immediately appeared near the bottom of the screen. It's okay to be emotional! Mira tried so hard not to smile at that and failed almost instantly. I agree with that statement, she said, muffled slightly by Zoe squishing her cheeks together. Rumi tilted her head towards Zoe thoughtfully while absent-mindedly sprinkling shredded cheese across roughly half the counter and only some of the actual pizza. For you, she started carefully. For you, she started carefully. I think your favorite thing about us is probably that neither of us gets scared off by how intense you are. Zoe Zoe slowly turned toward her with narrowed eyes like she'd just been psychologically evaluated without consent. Mm-hmm. Truth, Nuke. Rumi laughed under her breath. No, because genuinely, she continued, softer now, you care very loudly about people. About everything, honestly. And I think a lot of people either misunderstand that or get overwhelmed by it. Mira nodded despite not hearing majority of what was being said. I agree with that statement. Rumi smiled softly, warmth creeping into her voice again. But I think me and Mira are both pretty good at matching your energy without making you feel like you have to tone yourself down all the time. Zoe's entire expression softened so fast it was almost painful to look at. And, Rumi added with a grin, you also like that we entertain your nonsense. Zoe nodded aggressively without a shred of shame. Hmm? Yes. Mira looked between the two of them for a second before turning toward the camera and giving a solemn thumbs up. I agree with that statement. That finally made Zoe break into silent laughter again while simultaneously trying to rescue the pizza from Rumi, who was momentarily shredded cheese directly onto the countertop instead of the dough. Zoe gently caught her wrists and redirected her hands while Rumi laughed under her breath. Then, after a small pause, Rumi spoke again, quieter this time. For me, she started softly, My favorite thing about both of them is that they make it really easy to feel loved and really easy to love. The kitchen seemed to settle after that. Not fully silent. Music still played faintly from Mira's headphones somewhere across the counter, and Zoe kept moving toppings around with exaggerated care, but everything softened around the edges a little. Rumi kept Rumi kept talking while absently feeling around the counter for tips, brushing over ingredients until Zoe silently plans. Even before we started dating, she continued, being around them always felt natural. A small smile tugged at her mouth. I'm gonna open my door because I'm getting bad Wi-Fi warnings. Oh, let's keep it like this. Y'all, there is a fucking rat in our apartment and I don't want it in my room again. But I do want to open the door. Oh, let's keep it like this. Oh. It's been so nightmarish. Oh god. Okay. Okay. A small smile tugged at her mouth. There wasn't really this pressure to be anything specific around them. I felt like I had to make myself smaller or more palatable to be around. Zoe leaned against the counter, listening quietly now, her hands still resting lightly over Rumi's wrists to help guide where the toppings were going. And honestly, Rumi let out a quiet, breathy laugh. I think before them, I had a really hard time loving myself properly. That made Zoe's expression change immediately. Mira remained a few feet away, fully focused on scrolling through her playlist while music blasted through her headphones. Rumi kept speaking anyway, almost absent-mindedly now, like she'd forgotten the camera was still recording. I don't know, she admitted, still feeling for toppings as she spoke. Growing up, I always felt like everyone else figured out how to be a person correctly before I did. Girl, don't call me out like that. Hello. She smiled awkwardly, saying it like she was embarrassed by how honest she sounded. Like everybody else just seemed confident and comfortable being themselves, while I was still trying to figure out why being me felt so difficult sometimes. Rumi suddenly felt a gentle squeeze against her wrist. Without even thinking about it, she slipped her fingers into the hand holding hers, recognizing Zoe instantly despite the blindfold. The familiarity of it made her smile little before she continued speaking, quieter now. And when you already struggle with seeing yourself positively, she said softly, it gets really hard to believe other people could genuinely see you that way too. But these two, Rumi's smile returned, smaller and more fragile this time. They're really patient with me. Her thumb absently brushed against Zoe's knuckles while she spoke. They compliment me constantly. They reassure me constantly. They make me feel wanted all the time without making me feel guilty for needing the reassurance in the first place. She let out a soft, embarrassed laugh afterward, like she was aware she'd crossed into dangerous emotional territory, but couldn't stop now that she'd started. And after a while, when people love you that openly and consistently, she paused for a second, her voice catching slightly as she searched for the right words. I think you slowly start learning how to be gentler with yourself too. The last sentence cracked at the edges, and Rumi immediately sniffed, pressing awkwardly at the blindfold with the back of her wrist. Sorry, she mumbled with a watery laugh. I didn't mean to get emotional over pizza. Behind the tape covering her mouth, Zoe made the most genuinely devastated, muffled sound imaginable before immediately wrapping both arms around Rumi and pulling her close. Rumi laughed weakly against her shoulder. I'm okay, she murmured. I'm fine. Zoe only hugged her tighter, rubbing slow circles against her back like she physically could not allow Rumi to feel sad for more than 30 consecutive seconds. The camera slowly zoomed in on the two of them, and then beside them, Mira remained completely absorbed in reorganizing her playlist on her phone, brows furrowed in intense concentration. After a second, She glanced over at Zoe and Rumi hugging beside the counter. Then she looked directly into the camera. Whatever Rumi just said, Mira said flatly, I bet it was gay. The emotional atmosphere died instantly. Toss is so good at like emotional flip flopping. Like emotional whiplashes are like a Toss specialty, I would say. Mm. Rumi burst into startled laugh. Rumi burst into startled laughter against Zoe's shoulder while Zoe whipped around so fast in betrayal she nearly lost balance. Hmm? Mira! Before anyone could recover, Zoe grabbed the nearest dish towel and immediately started smacking Mira's arm with it. Oh, hey! Mira stumbled backward out of frame, laughing so hard she could barely defend herself. Why are you hitting me? They're silly. Oh my god, the oranges. No, yeah. No, yeah. You can. Oh my god, Nat. Oh my god, Nat. Thank you. Nat discovered that he could send oranges and like just went haywire. Oh my god. Ooh. Yeah. The next clip opened with Zoe creeping dramatically down a dim hallway, holding the camera close to her face while trying not to laugh. Okay, she whispered seriously. Future Zoe here. Zoe pointed vaguely behind herself down the hallway. I just want to ask everyone very kindly, she whispered dramatically, to not cancel Mira over the last clip. For a brief moment, the video cut to a grayscale replay of Mira standing at the counter, staring down at her phone, while sad, emotional piano music played over the footage like a true crime reenactment. For context, Zoe continued as the video returned to her creeping through the dark hallway. She genuinely had no idea what was happening. She lowered her voice even more conspiratorially while reaching for the bedroom door. I explained it afterward, she said, trying not to laugh. And now she feels horrible, so Zoe slowly pushed the door open. The room beyond was dim except for the warm glow of a bedside lamp near the wall. Mira was sitting against the headboard with Rumi fully tucked into her arms, one hand absent mindedly playing with her hair while they talked quietly. The second Mira noticed the camera. She groaned loudly and immediately buried part of her face into Rumi's shoulder. Tell the people you're not a cruel and heartless monster, Zoe laughed from behind the camera. I feel like one, Mira muttered miserably without looking up. Rumi smiled against her neck. You're being dramatic. I was unaware of the situation, Mira defended weakly, finally peeking toward the camera with visible shame. Please do not take that clip out of proportion. I love my girlfriends very much and would never intentionally say something like that during a vulnerable moment. Rumi immediately buried her face harder against Mira's neck, shoulders shaking with quiet laughter. She's been apologizing for like 20 minutes, she informed the camera. Because, Mira stressed, sounding deeply haunted by her own actions, I interrupted your emotional breakthrough with, that was gay. Zoe audibly lost it behind the camera. The lens zoomed in aggressively on Mira's face, which somehow only made her look more ashamed as she stared directly into it with exhausted sincerity. Don't hate me, Rumi. I don't, Rumi mumbled instantly, smiling softly as she tucked herself closer against Mira's chest. It was funny. You laughed while I was getting assaulted with a dish towel. You deserved it a little. Mira sighed deeply. Wow. Zoe turned the camera back toward herself and gave a thumbs up. There you have it, folks, she announced. No bad blood. Mira has survived cancellation. No ukulele needed. Oh my god. I feel like Zoe would definitely be the person to do like a joke ukulele apology video, but with like not just the ukulele, just multiple instruments played very badly. I think that would be so Zoe's vibe to do. Oh my god. You need water break. The next clip opened with Zoe aggressively ripping the tape off her mouth while making a noise like she was escaping imprisonment. So that happened. They haven't finished with the challenge yet. That just happened in the middle of it. And just Mira spent 20 minutes apologizing to Rumi for 20 minutes in the middle of all that. That's so funny. The next clip opened with Zoe aggressively ripping the tape off her mouth while making a noise like she was escaping imprisonment. Oh my god, she breathed dramatically, rubbing at her jaw while leaning back against the counter. I can finally be free! Behind her, Rumi carefully peeled the blindfold off and immediately squinted hard against the kitchen lighting like she just emerged from underground after several years. Jesus, she muttered, blinking repeatedly. Why is the kitchen so bright? Welcome back to society, Zoe said solemnly. Also, welcome back to society. Beside them, Mira finally slipped the headphones off too and visibly relaxed as silence returned for the first time in ages. Oh, thank God, she sighed. I can hear my own thoughts again. Zoe grinned instantly. I think that challenge went pretty well, honestly. No major hiccups, no major hiccups. She glanced sideways towards Mira. Minus when somebody thought she was in Papa Louis' pizzeria and launched the pizza onto the floor. Mira groaned so loudly it echoed through the kitchen before burying her face in her hands. Oh my god, okay, we get it, I messed up, she complained dramatically. Hashtag, but I'm only human, Christina Perry. Rumi immediately snorted. That was awful. Thank you. Zoe pulled her phone out next and flashed the timer toward the camera proudly. 15 minutes remained. Now we wait. For a moment, all three of them just stood there in tired silence, the kind that always followed several consecutive hours of being aggressively stupid together. Then Zoe suddenly straightened. Actually, wait. Something shifted in her expression as she slowly turned toward Mira with the unmistakable look of someone remembering unfinished business. Mira noticed instantly. Why are you looking at me like that? Zoe's grin spread slowly. You owe me 4 blue sprays. The life drained from Mira's face immediately. She threw her head back dramatically like she'd just been sentenced. Oh God, please no. Yes. No. Zoe was already heading toward the kitchen drawer. Yes. The camera followed her while she rummaged around triumphantly before finally pulling out a tiny bottle of blue warhead sour spray like she'd unearthed an ancient weapon. Oh, that's evil. Yeah, Rumi made a soft noise of concern from behind her. Oh, that's evil. Zoe slowly turned back toward Mira, lightly shaking the bottle. Open your mouth. Mira immediately started backing away across the kitchen. Zoe, open your mouth. I don't wanna. I'll make it 6. Mira looked genuinely betrayed by that escalation. You know I have my own free will, right? Open. Rumi laughed quietly to herself while leaning against the counter, elbow propped up as she rested her chin in her hand to watch the unfolding disaster. With her other hand, she absently checked her hair in the flipped up camera screen while Mira continued retreating cautiously like a frightened animal being cornered. Rumi, Mira said desperately without taking her eyes off Zoe. Help me. Rumi tilted her head like she was genuinely considering it. Nah, she decided after a second. I think I'll sit this one out. Mira looked betrayed. Wow. She warned you about cursing before we started filming. You're supposed to be on my side. I'm on the side of consequences. You're sick. Zoe, meanwhile, had successfully cornered Mira beside the fridge and was now standing there shaking the tiny bottle threateningly. Open. Mira groaned like a Victorian woman succumbing to illness before finally opening her mouth with the expression of someone accepting death. The second the spray hit her tongue, her entire body recoiled violently. A truly horrifying gurgling noise escaped her throat as she stumbled out of frame toward the sink, coughing. Oh, my baby. You'll survive, Zoe shouted after her while laughing so hard she could barely stay upright. A second later, the sound of the sink turning on echoed from somewhere off screen while Mira suffered dramatically in the distance. Rumi watched Zoe fondly from across the counter. You enjoy tormenting her a little too much. Zoe actually paused to think about it. Maybe. Then she sprayed some into her own mouth. Instant regret crossed her face. Her entire expression tightened as her eyes immediately started watering, and she made a strained little noise through clenched teeth. Mm. Rumi instantly dissolved into laughter. You did that to yourself. Zoe swallowed aggressively, one hand pressed against her chest. So sour, she croaked weakly. I love it. Despite visibly suffering, she still held the little bottle up proudly toward the camera like she was endorsing the product. Every time somebody curses in videos, she explained, voice still wrecked from acid damage, they get 2 sprays. Oh my god. Which is a completely normal and sane punishment system, Rumi added. Thank you. Rumi eyed the bottle carefully the second Zoe turned toward her. You want some? No thanks. You sure? Yes, because unlike you two, I value peace. Zoe gasped softly. You saying me and Mira don't value peace? From off screen, Mira immediately yelled, You sprayed chemicals into my mouth! Rumi burst out laughing while Zoe shouted back without missing a beat. You dropped the F-bomb like 7 times! Because you dropped flour on my socks! That was Rumi! I literally saw you do it! Zoe shook her head with a quiet huff, muttering something under her breath about dramatics, while Rumi wandered over beside her, giggling faintly. Without really thinking about it, Rumi wrapped her arms loosely around Zoe's waist from behind and rested her chin against her shoulder. Zoe leaned back into her automatically, all the fake outrage disappearing instantly. You know, Rumi murmured thoughtfully, watching Mira continue complaining somewhere off screen. For a challenge involving sensory deprivation, we communicated surprisingly well. Zoe nodded seriously. I think we'd survive an apocalypse. From the sink, Mira looked over slowly. You two would die in 40 minutes. That's incredibly pessimistic. You sprayed sour acid into my mouth for saying bad words. And people would come for you immediately. Get him. Get her ass, Mira. Are there more little internet emmed bits in the rest of the chapter? No, that's sad. Oh well. Okay. Mini break. Okay. I've been yelling a lot, so my throat is like, ooh, struggle. Also, like yelling in the Mira voice. Hello. We are reading Don't Clip That. Chapter 2. Not Papa Louie. God, y'all remember Papa's games? Oh my god, that was so long ago. I can't believe I was here for a whole live for once. Well, this one was like, it's probably going to be like a 3-hour live. And then I have to get ready and do a show and swing swords around. Oh my god, guys. I think they're gonna put the filmed video of both Barbie Princess and the Pauper and Barbie and Three Musketeers on YouTube for viewing for free. So if y'all wanna see me swing a sword around, that will be available. A pink sword. Hidden talents, anyone? Zoe read aloud from the phone while Mira carefully pulled the pizza out of the oven and set it aside on the stove to cool. She considered it for a second before shrugging lazily. I genuinely don't think I have any. Sorry, I'm talentless. That's not true, Rumi said immediately, sounding almost offended on Zoe's behalf. Zoe pointed at her without hesitation. Name one. Rumi confidently opened her mouth, then stopped. Her expression shifted almost instantly from certainty to visible panic as she realized she somehow couldn't think of a single example fast enough, despite fully believing what she just said. Mira snorted softly from beside the counter, already watching the train wreck unfold. Rumi glanced upward like the answer might be written somewhere on the ceiling. I. Okay, wait. Zoe folded her arms. Mm hmm. No, because you do have hidden talents, Rumi insisted quickly, growing more determined the more she struggled. I just forgot them temporarily. That's crazy. It's not crazy. It's sounding a little crazy. Okay, for me, maybe not hidden talents specifically, she admitted carefully while Mira snorted softly beside the counter. But, Rumi added brightly, clearly refusing to give up, I am double jointed. Before either of them could even process what she meant, she casually grabbed her shoulder and partially popped it out of place. The sound it made was deeply unsettling. Rumi smiled proudly at the camera and gave a thumbs up while Zoe physically recoiled in horror. Sorry, but Rumi would definitely be double jointed, like in canon. Rumi would be double jointed. Rumi would for sure be double jointed. Those like demon jeans, are you kidding me? She would be double jointed. Before either of them could even process what she meant, she casually grabbed her shoulder and partially popped it out of place. Oh, sorry. I read that. Oh my god, please put your shoulder back. She turned away immediately, covering half her face with the sleeve of her hoodie like she physically could not look at it. I can never get used to that, she groaned. That's horrifying. Rumi just laughed while casually fixing it back into place with another awful little pop. Zoe physically gagged. It's pretty sick, actually, Mira said, nodding approvingly from the counter while cutting the pizza into slices. Zoe whipped around toward her immediately, betrayed. You cannot encourage her. She's more flexible than most people, Mira continued thoughtfully, completely serious. Makes it easier to fold her in half. Of course. I mean, of course, you can't bring up double jointedness into the conversation and not expect something like that. So, well, yes. Silence filled the kitchen. Zoe and Rumi slowly turned toward her at the exact same time. Mira stared blankly at the camera for one long second before realization finally hit her. For travel purposes, she clarified immediately. Like if we need to drive cross country or something, you probably could fit her in a suitcase. Another pause. Not sexually. Listen, I saw that coming. I mean, you can't mention someone being flexible in a fanfic and not bring that. Like, that's a classic. That is a classic. Y'all, we should get Artie a pink sword. No, genuinely, it's fine. I'll show you my practice dowel. Nat, this is my little practice dowel that I practice sword work with. You put your knuckles there, and you do the little. Like I can't do it right now, obviously, because it is. I would need to clear space out, but. Wait, is that the Barbie yours? Yes. Yes, I'm doing Barbie shows right now. Like after this, I'm running off to do Barbie and Three Musketeers. So I play one of the like if you remember Barbie and the Three Musketeers, there are like two musketeers in the beginning of the movie who are like doing their little fight, and then Corinne, Barbie, is like, "Oh my god, I'm here to be a musketeer," and they make fun of her. So I'm one of those. I'm one of those guys. Everyone's life is made better if they have a sword. Honestly, true. We do have an actual sword here. I'm pretty sure we still have the sword. Like we have an actual sword because my roommate has a sword, but it's a broadsword. So next in my checklist, learning how to do broadsword combat. Okay. The next clip opened on Mira standing alone in the corner of the kitchen with her arms folded and her lips noticeably bluer than before. Even her tongue had been stained slightly blue from the sour spray, and she looked deeply ashamed of herself. A subtitle appeared beside her. 6 sour sprays. You can come back now. Rumi laughed from somewhere off screen. Mira let out a long, defeated sigh before slowly shuffling back toward the counter like a kicked puppy being allowed back inside after causing problems. Rumi smiled warmly at her as she returned. Do you have any hidden talents, Mira? Mira shrugged lightly. I can wiggle my ears on command. I love it when people can do that. I don't understand how people can do that, but it's so sick. Both Zoe and Rumi froze instantly. What? Zoe whispered. Mira blinked at them. My ears. Zoe's jaw physically dropped. For real? Before Mira could even react, Zoe lunged forward, grabbed both of her shoulders, and immediately started shaking her with genuine betrayal. Why would you keep that from us? Well, Mira muttered while being jostled around helplessly. It's called a hidden talent. That is not the point! And I kind of forgot about it until now. Show us right now! Zoe demanded instantly. Beside her, Rumi had already started nodding eagerly. Please, 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 please! She latched onto Mira's sleeve while both she and Zoe slowly crowded closer with increasingly alarming levels of excitement. Please! Zoe echoed dramatically. Please, 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 please! Within seconds, Mira was cornered against the counter by 2 overly invested girlfriends staring at her like she was about to perform a magic trick. Okay, Jesus, Mira laughed nervously. Personal space, please. Yippee! Zoe cheered immediately, backing up exactly 2 inches. Rumi bounced once on her heels like an excited child waiting for fireworks. Mira sighed deeply before carefully pushing her hair back behind her ears so they'd actually be visible. I'm only doing this once, she warned seriously, and then never again. Zoe clasped her hands dramatically beneath her chin. So it's like, Rumi looked moments away from vibrating through the floor. Mira straightened a little. Then, with complete seriousness, her ears gave the tiniest little wiggle. Zoe physically melted first. Ah! Rumi immediately folded forward against the counter with the most devastated coo imaginable. That's so adorable, she whined through laughter. And somehow a little unsettling, but mostly adorable. Mira's face immediately started turning pink. Zoe pointed at her like she just discovered a rare species. You're like Dumbo! Mira looked genuinely horrified. But like, Zoe rushed to clarify while already laughing at her own terrible wording. Less elephanty, more tiny and pink. That did not help. And if you really believed in yourself, Zoe continued emotionally, I think you could fly away. Mira instantly covered both ears protectively. Okay, my ears are not that big. I'm kidding, Zoe laughed, already wrapping both arms around Mira's waist anyway. But that was genuinely life-changing information. She buried her face dramatically into Mira's shoulder with a sigh. I just want to keep you in a tiny enclosure and make you wiggle your ears all day. That sounds deeply unethical, Mira muttered weakly. Rumi had attached herself to Mira's other side too, loosely wrapped around her waist while she stared up at her with blatant fondness. I kind of want to nibble on your face right now, Rumi admitted casually, still wrapped around Mira's side. Mira looked between both of them with growing concern. You guys are making this weird. You made your ears wiggle, Zoe argued immediately. This is entirely on you. That's not how cause and effect works. Rumi hummed thoughtfully, still clinging to her like a very affectionate backpack. I think this actually explains a lot. Mira narrowed her eyes. What does that even mean? I don't know yet, Rumi admitted honestly. But spiritually, it feels important. Zoe nodded with complete certainty. Correct. Rumi is literally just there to like completely be Zoe's +1 when it comes to her nonsense. And that's beautiful. I love the Zorumi dynamic. I think they get like extremely silly. Ah, chat, we can get Artia rapier with a purple handle for less than $1,000. Hi, Jinx. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I know how to use a rapier. I know how to use a rapier. Uh, it's more I know. I'm rapier trained. I'm not. I didn't take the test for it. I am. I took the test for unarmed combat and I passed. But I did learn rapier combat, so I know. I know the basic like, cuts. Slash. I know like all that. Like I know like the positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5A. Like I know all that. I do know sword combat. Like genuinely. Yeah. I would love to like do more sword combat. Like one of the reasons why I like doing this show is because even though we're not working with real swords, we're using actual sword combat moves. So it's like my choreography is like this is my first choreo, like cuts, parry, thrust this way, and then reset, and then parry this way, and then throw the swords, and then I do another parry, and then we do the little I forget what it's called, riposte. Uh, I don't remember all the names. I think that's called riposte. Riposte, like expulse, attack, cut over there, riposte, uh, and then wait, what did I wait. No, riposte, blah blah, flick, slash. So it's like it is actual sword choreography. Um, listen, y'all, I literally made a TikTok of this. I wasn't just swinging the sword around. I wasn't just swinging the sword around. I'm getting miraculous ladybug flashbacks. Girl. Do they do sword combat in Miraculously? Listen, I haven't seen Miraculous Ladybug since season 3, I think, because shit got crazy. I don't know what the hell they're doing over there right now. That show has been going on for a decade, by the way. Like that show has been going on for such a long time. And I like realized that when Chloe's voice actor posted like a TikTok being like, POV, you've been voicing the same character for 10 years. And I was like, it's been 10 years. Jesus Christ. I think there was like a whole episode about where Adrian was in sword. Oh, yes. Right. But that's different because Adrian does fencing. That's true. I thought you were talking about like Ladybug and Cat Noir actually doing like sword combat. Yeah, Adrian does fencing. Fencing is a little different. I don't know fencing. Anyways, we're back. We went on a tangent over there. The next clip opened quietly. All three of them sat shoulder to shoulder on the floor against the counter with paper plates balanced in their laps, while soft music played faintly somewhere in the background. For a little while, nobody talked. They just ate in comfortable silence, occasionally bumping shoulders or stealing glances at one another between bites. Then Zoe suddenly looked over. Did you fold your pizza? Mira glanced down at the slice in her hands. Yeah. Zoe stared at her in disbelief. Rumi looked between them slowly. Oh no. You folded it? Zoe repeated, visibly disturbed. It's easier to eat that way. No, it's not. It is easier to eat that way. I am a folder. I am 100% a folder. I also used to put like I still love doing that. I love putting salad inside the pizza and folding it and eating it like a taco. So folding pizza supremacy, okay? Okay. Yes, it is, Mira argued immediately, gesturing vaguely with the folded slice. Everything stays inside. You're structurally compromising the pizza. That sentence means nothing. Zoe turned toward the camera with the seriousness of someone exposing a public figure. This is actually huge information about her as a person. Beside her, Rumi nodded thoughtfully. I think folded pizza says a lot psychologically. Mira looked deeply offended by that. It's literally just pizza. Wrong! Zoe said instantly. Pizza reflects the soul. That is genuinely one of the craziest things you've ever said. Rumi pointed toward Mira's slice with quiet concern. See, because now your toppings are all compressed weirdly. That's the point. But the texture changes. The texture is fine. Oh my god. Mira took another bite while maintaining unwavering eye contact with both of them, purely to make the situation worse. Rumi narrowed her eyes thoughtfully. You know what's actually evil, though? What? People who eat pizza with utensils. That's true. Listen, I can get behind that. Um, I guess unless you're eating deep dish, I've never eaten deep dish. Do y'all eat deep dish with utensils? I don't know. I wouldn't know. Zoe gasped immediately and pointed at her in support. Thank you. Okay, wait, no. Mira interrupted before the two of them could spiral further. Deep dish gets a pass. Okay. Mira and I are on the same wavelength. We are on the same wavelength. Rumi paused to genuinely consider that. That's fair. Zoe nodded solemnly. Deep dish is basically casserole pretending to be pizza anyway. See, now that feels offensive. Mira muttered around another bite. Now you're gonna get Chicago murdered after you. Mira muttered. Zoe ignored her completely and slowly leaned sideways until her head rested against Mira's shoulder like it belonged there automatically. Mira adjusted without even looking up from her plate, shifting slightly so Zoe could settle more comfortably against her side. On Zoe's other side, Rumi absently hooked her foot around Zoe's ankle while continuing to eat. And after that, the conversation naturally dissolved into quieter little tangents and overlapping comments while they finished the pizza together. They're filming all of this. That's going to be a lot of footage to edit, Zoe. At one point, she reached over and stole a pepperoni direct off Mira's slice, immediately earning a light smack to the arm. At another, Rumi accidentally dropped a piece of crust onto the floor and stared at it mournfully for a solid 5 seconds before whispering, "We lost a good one today." The kitchen felt softer now compared to earlier chaos. Still messy, still cluttered with ingredients and dishes, but warm in that comfortable aftermath sort of way. Eventually, Zoe swallowed the last bite of her pizza and looked back toward the camera with a dramatic sigh. All right, she announced, dusting her hands together. I think that officially concludes today's disaster. Success, Rumi corrected immediately. Debatable, Mira muttered. Zoe pointed proudly toward the remains of the pizza on the counter. We made edible food. Then she clapped her hands together and scooted closer toward the camera for the outro, while Mira and Rumi leaned in behind her. Thank you guys for watching, she said brightly. If you enjoyed watching us psychologically deteriorate while making pizza, make sure to like, comment, and smash that subscribe button. She pointed dramatically between Rumi and Mira. And thank you to my lovely assistants for joining me today. You're welcome, Rumi said sweetly. I have to admit, Mira added with a small smile. It was pretty fun. Zoe immediately made a heart shape with her hand towards her. And next video, she began ominously. Her expression slowly shifted into something that immediately made both girlfriends suspicious. Me and my girlfriends, she announced dramatically, will be sneaking into IKEA at 3 a.m. Shakes my head. Mira's head snapped toward her. Wait, what? Huh? Zoe pointed at the camera with complete confidence. Totally legit. Love. Period. Notes. Yummy. Howdy. Shout out to all the Twitter account cameos. Good day now. Toss is like, I'm going to keep this nice and simple. That was really cute. Is this technically completed? Yeah. I mean, technically, Don't Clip That was supposed to be a one shot. So maybe next year, Toss will return with chapter 3 of Don't Clip That. And you know what? I wouldn't complain. Chapter 5, Running from the Police. They're silly. They're silly. Okay, we made yeah, awesome. I can't believe I read 19,000 words in 3 hours. That's crazy. Oh, I love that of you. Running from the police at you? Breaking in chapter 3, breaking into IKEA, chapter 4, breaking out of prison, chapter 5, running from the police. um yeah, broccoli, my streams are long. What do you expect? Part 2 of Valentine's coming next finally. Yay! That's going to be smut though, right? Yeah, from what I remember. Yeah, that's gonna need the Discord. That's gonna need the Discord. Awesome. Yay. Toss lots of sauce. You're joking. um. Ooh, yes, that's gonna be a spicy one. Mm. Listen, guys, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to do a stream. I'm gonna check my calendar real quick. Let me stop sharing for a sec. No, wait, because next week gets a bit crazy. Well, I have Thursday and Friday off. I have to unfortunately, I got a bit too employed. And just me getting employed means that I have more of a constant job now. It's not like I'm not comparing myself to 16-hour days. I'm like, I still have time, but yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that was it. And let me check the comments real quick. Oh my god. Or are you playing Crush by Fox for now? I'm gonna play Decode. I'm gonna play Decode because whenever there's a song mentioned in the chapter, I'm like, I need to end it with that now. I'm gonna play Decode by Paramore, but like next time maybe. I'm gonna play Decode. Let me say bye to the YouTube. Bye YouTube. Um, thanks for being here if you were on the YouTube. You guys are the real ones. Bye. End.